Welcome to Statesman, the podcast that explores all 50 states with our 5 senses. If you've come here for history, we'll give you some. But most of this is half-baked opinion that is never intended to harm or offend anyone. Today, we explore a dense forest. Close your eyes, unless you're operating a motorized vehicle, and imagine branches scratching, wind howling, trees whooshing. For this land isn't as sweet as the sap from its maple tree, nay, and nor is it as dripping in delectable prose as in the poetry of Robert Frost. This land is a historical nightmare. Who knew that between 1931 and 1963, the 9,616 square mile Green Mountain State enthralled itself with eugenics and sterilized over 500 people, most of them women, where the categorizations of quote-unquote degenerates included illiterate, queer, syphilitic, dependent, and just not right. Citizens were fined for marrying quote-unquote idiots with bad genes. People with good genes called themselves cream. This is unfathomable and NC not cool. But it's in the past. And with more progressive decisions at the turn of the millennium, maybe VT is okay. Or not. How do move forward? I don't know. As they say, may the 14th star shine bright. We welcome you to Vermont.
Here come them statesmen boys again.
I'm your older statesman, Tim Ferrari, along with my junior statesman, Anthony Rossi.
Shut down that coat factory, but keep the Burlington.
And Stuart Highcar.
Vermontgomery Burns? Release the hound, Smithers.
Oh, guys, welcome to the show. Absolutely, we're already on fire today.
Yeah.
Oh, how are you guys feeling?
My hair's burning and you can smell it from a block away.
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling great. You know, we just got back from our lovely vacation to Indiana with several of our other friends.
Indiana, a state.
Yeah, a different state than the one that we record and live in.
Surprisingly, doesn't smell as much as deer piss as I remember.
Yeah, that's
definitely
weird.
not.
That's weird.
Yeah.
But I will say it was a lovely weekend up at a cabin in the woods, exploring ourselves, our minds, our relationships, the future, the past, all of the above.
Yeah.
And I got to explore Brown County State Park, which was included in the visual presentation.
Yeah,
It
and
lived up to the hype.
to be fair, saying I went to explore Brown Valley National Park sounds like a euphemism for going poop. It's kind of funny.
I also did that a lot while in
it was-
Indiana.
I actually wish I had pooped more while I was there.
Yeah,
It
you were
was-
stopped up. We went to Culver's.
Well, yeah,
then-
and I put a cork in my whole system with a thick ass concrete, man. It fucked me up. It was a terrible decision.
We did to and fro on
Culver's,
Culver's. Yeah, we
yeah.
went to Indiana, got Culver's, and then left Indiana and got Culver's again. So it was like a double cork action up my little poopy.
a couple locations that I just want to give a quick shout out to in Indiana. They're near and dear to my heart. Spaghetti's, an Italian restaurant chain.
Wait, hold on.
how do you
it's
spell
spelled
that?
normal, right?
No, it's spelled Spag Eddie's, like the name, which is pretty amazing. Eddie, much like Eddie Brock, but I hope that pasta's not venomous. Guys, also another location I want to
Jesus.
shout out. Crazy Kaplan's Fireworks.
Yes. Big
yeah.
shout out to Crazy Kaplan's Fireworks, the only place in America where if you buy one, you will get 6 free, which is I mean, how does that work as a business? That doesn't make any sense.
Especially when it comes to like explosives. You know, you buy one, you get 6 explosives. I don't know.
I do want to point out we don't know about Crazy Kaplan's because we went there, just because they have about 1,000 billboards
Mhm.
Yeah. And
alongside the highway.
I will say, I mean, in a heartbeat, I would record a podcast in a Crazy Kaplan's warehouse.
Yeah, me too.
I would do it so quickly. So the folks from Crazy Kaplan's, if you are listening, we'd love to have you sponsor the Statesman podcast.
Oh, wow.
Guys, do you have any quick thoughts about Indiana? Just because we happen to stop there, just like a quick rating adjustment based from the time we recorded our episode to your experience.
Oh,
there.
sure. I think Indiana's a state that is beset by a couple of well-known problematic areas, economic downturn for sure. But going into the natural beauty of the southern part of the state, I gotta say, this Indiana had me Indiana Jonesing to go back.
I don't know what I said about Indiana all those months ago, but I did have a lot of fun exploring that little natural nature, you know, getting to know myself in the natural beauty of Indiana, I do want to give a shout out to one of the businesses out there, which was across the street from a Culver's. A lot of therapy.
Oh, yeah. A lot of therapy.
Which is an actual name of a business out there, and possibly the worst name for a psychology center, I think.
Here,
of all
real
time.
quick, Anthony, in just like 10 seconds, let's run through a commercial. Ready? So I break into the apartment and I go, God, my mind's all over the place. I feel like I need a little therapy or something.
You don't need a little therapy. You need a lot of therapy.
Nice. That was really good.
That was pretty good.
Well, I mean, we can talk about Indiana all damn day, but we're not here to do that, right?
No.
Absolutely not.
No, we're here to talk.
No!
We're here to talk about VT, Vermont.
VT, not vermit.
What?
What?
Like vermits. I don't know.
Okay. Sure. Sure.
Vermit the frog.
Ugh.
That was not worth the real estate in this podcast.
Oh,
Camden,
man.
please delete. Let's start
Don't
again.
do that. Don't do that.
All right. Well, maybe we should introduce our guest so we can, talk about this beautiful Green Mountain State to its fullest. Shall we?
I wholly agree.
All right. So let's all move aside and please welcome your personal shapoopy, comedian and renowned music man, Ian Iversen.
Let's play ball. Let's play ball.
Let's play ball, Ian. What's up?
Nothing much. I think after this episode, we're all going to need a lot of therapy.
Oh, I totally. I need a lot of therapy after this entire podcast. I think I need to be.
Yeah.
I need to be admitted.
How many states have you done so far?
Wow, great
That is a
question.
good
And
cue.
to put us on the spot
Yeah,
like that, Ian.
Could I interview you at the top?
Whoa.
Yeah, sure. Why not? I think
You could ballpark it.
I think we've done
Mid-thirties.
33.
Yeah.
33.
I want to say 33. I think we have like 4 special episodes, and then I think at the release of this one, we'll have like maybe, I don't know, 34, 35.
Whatever it might be, we're doing pretty well, but we are getting into the back end of the 50 where it's much harder to find guests, harder to find people from some of these smaller, crazier states. But thank God we found someone as talented and as special
Thank
as
you.
young Ian Iversen
you.
for the state
Truly.
of Vermont.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you first walked in the room, it was like we had an instant connection between us. And I don't want to derail, but I do you know why we have that connection? Huh?
I do. We spoke about it when I
Yes.
walked in the room.
It's like you're grilling him
Yeah.
already.
He grilled us. I'm just firing back.
And listen,
huh?
young man, do you
It was-
know why we...
I'm sorry for firing.
It was because young Ian went to college in my very own hometown, Saratoga Springs,
That's right.
New York.
Not
Yes.
just in your hometown, but literally down the street from the house you grew up in, right?
Absolutely. And
Wild.
he said that it was 10 out of 10, the best place he's ever been in his life. And New York, upstate New York specifically, is way better than Vermont.
Is that true, Ian? Did you say that?
Do you not remember that?
I'm scared if I say that's not true.
You're right to be scared. Well, Ian, while you did go to college in Saratoga Springs, where Anthony grew his little legs to run amok later in life, I'd like to talk to you specifically. Where did you grow up in Vermont?
Well, I actually didn't grow up in Vermont.
What?
What? I did though. Here's the thing. I've been going to Vermont ever since I was ever since I could walk. My parents put me on damn skis and they sent me down a mountain.
Oh, sick.
My parents have had a close relationship with Vermont ever since the 80s, pretty much, and they've been going to this ski spot their whole life. They have a family, and they say, "Hey, we gotta get these kids in Vermont out in the wild as much time as we can."
Get my 6-year-old in a pair of 2 skis and let's send him down a double black diamond. Come on.
Truly.
How's the pow pow out there?
The pow pow is it's a little icier than you get on the West Coast, and people make that differentiation a lot. They say
Yikes.
you get the powder out west, you get kind of like icier kind of skiing out east.
So, would you consider yourself maybe not a native to Vermont, but someone who has been there multiple times and someone who finds some sort of familial connection in the state? Would you consider yourself a bit of an expert?
I would consider myself an expert.
Wow.
Do you stan Vermont?
I stand Vermont as a non-native, though. An expert, but a non-native.
Well, that's an interesting place to be coming from on this
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah, I agree. So I've got a question. What made your parents like so attracted to Vermont that they wanted to like bring you out there all the time?
So my dad was going to college at the time in New Jersey. This is like 82 or something. And I've been on like lifts going up the mountain with him, like skiing in the winter.
Mhm.
And he's explained this to strangers, like striking up conversation, like why he's been going to Vermont his whole life and his
Does he
connection.
feel like he needs to explain why he's there?
Like both my parents are insane. My dad, yeah. So he's like, yeah, I've been coming to the mountain, yeah. And I've heard him explain this story with his son right next to me. Next
You,
to him.
that's
Yeah,
you.
that's
That's
you. And here's the surprise: I'm the son. And he's explained that like he drove up here in 82, and so much snow, and going up the highway. They had to pull over at this little inn, and it was like peak. Like hippie migration happened like from upstate New York up into like this ski community up in Sugarbush, Vermont, Warren, Waitsfield, and that's kind of like the setting I grew up in, and I would always be in as a non-native there.
Interesting.
And he explains the situation while I'm on the lift with him, where he goes into this inn, everyone's drinking beer, everyone's doing this stuff, and there's just like hot tubs and naked people everywhere. And people are like running into the hot tub, then they're going out drunk, and they're like rolling in the snow, and then they're going back into the hot tub.
Wait, Ian, are you telling me that this lodge is full of sweet bush in Sugarbush?
Oh my
Yes,
god.
I've heard the connection be made before, but yeah. So and the weirdest part about this is I'm his son. I'm sitting there, and he's like, I guess it's like a fun story. You know what I
He's-
mean?
Yeah, he's just like, I got horny in this cabin.
And now I come back every year with my son.
Yeah, were you conceived up
No,
in this mountain?
no. But I think he meant well. It's like a lighthearted, like everyone would. I think times were different back then, and everyone was free, and it was this
Yeah.
like post hippie kind
Free
of vibe
love,
to it.
free
Yeah.
love.
And that's kind of the whole place is still like there's a nudist beach right by this creek there. It's
In
not
Vermont?
Oh, it's not a beach.
It's not a beach, but it's like a creek, and like
Gotcha.
it's a nudist, and there's
I
people
don't know.
who-
It gets pretty cold in Vermont, right?
but it does get very hot.
I don't need people looking
In
at
the
me
summer.
swimming in the cold creek in the nude.
Are you shivering there?
The nude.
Oh my god.
I'm on fire.
Yeah, for
Early.
real. So when was the last time you
Yeah.
went to Vermont?
About a month ago.
Oh,
Wow.
Wow.
Recent.
Dang.
Yeah.
But you didn't ski a month ago. You couldn't have.
No. Common misconception. It's not all skiing.
Huh.
It is warm. It does get warm, and it around snow kind of thaws out around May. I think people are still skiing around then, and
Yeah.
then
Whoa,
all the way
geez.
through like September. It's beautiful, and
Yeah.
the leaves changing in the fall. I mean, you know
Oh.
about this. You're from upstate.
Definitely, yeah. There's also just during the off season for skiing, those all just become viable like hiking trails and like gorgeous places to explore in the trees in the wilderness.
So, Anthony, you're from upstate New York. Ian, you spent a lot of time in Vermont. Those states, correct me if I'm wrong, they're touching, right? Just like your guys' hands are touching under the table.
Yeah, New York
Mm.
is to the west of Vermont. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
The north?
Yes. Yeah.
West?
Yeah.
Is that- All right. Well,
cool.
interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're-
I've spent a fair amount of time there. I mean, it would be just worth the drive to see some of the trees at times, and then there were even areas of New York where you can see Vermont from across like the land where you're looking if you're standing on like a high area.
Hmm.
But Vermont's interesting because it's like the second smallest state in
Yeah.
terms of population, period. And
Yeah,
it's
second
also,
least populated, I think, behind. Is it one of those like Wyoming kind of states or
I don't know.
maybe a Rhode Island or something?
It didn't look further into it. to
Yeah,
be
we all
honest,
saw
but-
the fact. It's like the number one fact on the
and
Wikipedia.
it's also statistically ranked as the safest state in the country.
Not when it comes to rolling on down that mountain and snapping your ankle on a nice little short ski.
Ian, let me ask, how many people have you seen straight up die on the mountain?
Oh my god. I've truly been in ski school as like my parents got me up on skis as soon
Yeah,
as they
right.
been in ski school. You're just doing like the snake down the mountain with like
Mhm.
8 other
Yep. Pizza
6-year-olds and
French
stuff.
fry.
Pizza French fry. And like sometimes you just come across someone who's just like smashed into a tree and they're like
Straight pancaked against a tree.
Have you ever been stranded out in the wilderness and had to shred up cans and punch wolves like in The Gray?
No, but I have.
That movie's not set in Vermont, is it?
Might as well
What?
be.
It's not.
Oh man. Okay. Well, Ian, I got one more final question before we move on to the game segment. Would you ever like go to die in Vermont? Would you ever retire there or
Absolutely.
yeah?
Yeah.
Does it
Oh.
feel like that kind of like sweet haven, sweet release, like going home? Does it feel like going home when you go back there?
It does. And I, especially since I've like seen it from so many different angles.
So many different ankles up in that cabin on full view.
Chill.
I've gone to camp there. I was basically like a Boy Scout there during a lot of the summers from like 10 years old to I'd say like 17 years old. I was like going and doing camp stuff kind of
shit.
there.
So,
Yeah.
Ian,
Oh,
it
yeah.
sort of feels like you have a very thick connection to the natural side of Vermont with the outdoor skiing, the Boy Scouting, the getting naked to roll around in the snow to get back into that hot tub with
My
your
dad.
dad.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
whatever
that
it
was-
is, very natural nature connection, right? Am I picking up on that alone, or do you guys feel that as well?
Yeah, I feel like there's a real natural spirit, like a ruggedness in the air today in the studio.
What is
might
that?
it might be all the maple syrup that Ian's sweating over there, and I can almost taste it. Anyway, so we're going to explore this state, Vermont, with our five senses. But before we do that, we have something very important to do. Before we explore Vermont with our five senses, Stuart has prepared for us a tiny little game.
What? No,
Yeah.
no, hold on. No, I think this is Anthony's week, right?
No, it's your week, dude. Definitely.
Oh, wait.
Oh, shit.
So
said
wait.
last week's.
Oh, the weekend in Indiana totally threw off my fucking schedule.
Oh, damn it. So
Oh, man.
do we even have a game?
Vermont. You know what? I'm gonna run out of the room real quick, make a call at a phone booth down the street. I know some Vermont natives who I think are in town, but I don't know. Anthony, help me out. Vamp for a little bit.
Okay.
2 seconds.
Okay. Well,
Ian, we have to kill some time. I just have to fire a couple things at you, some Saratoga things. What have you been to DeAndrea's Pizza?
Yeah, I have.
What do you think of the sugar in the crust at DeAndrea's Pizza?
I think it's great.
Yeah, I think it's wonderful.
It's a different take on pizza that I enjoy.
Do you like
Sugar?
Stewart's?
Yeah, you have to if you're in upstate. New York.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Also Vermont too.
sugar in the crust? What's going on with this pizza?
It's a little sweet treat.
That's fucked up.
Okay, guys, sorry, made a quick call. It went really well. I have a couple of family friends coming into the studio.
What the hell?
I'm sorry. It turns out they were on the street outside the apartment, and
Wait, oh, that's them
Okay.
right now. Okay, well,
they're here.
okay. I didn't-
y'all. How's it going?
Hello.
Okay. Hi. What are you
Wonderful
doing?
Salutations to you. My name is Jen Ice Cream,
And of course, I am Barry's ice cream.
and together we are Jen and Barry Ice
Ice cream.
Jen and Barry.
Jen and
Barry's
Barry's
ice
ice cream.
Thank. Okay. Thank.
Yes.
Who
what-
are these people? Well, I guess
Yeah,
I know them. This is Jen
This
and
is
Barry's
really
ice cream.
strange.
Yeah. Welcome to the show, Jen and Barry. I didn't know
Thank
that you guys were
you,
coming
thank
to
you.
the apartment.
we
we
didn't either.
We had
and
no
Stu
idea.
contacted
We
us,
were
and
walking around the street.
we kind of go where the winds take us.
Ugh, I call myself the sail.
Okay.
And Jen, you're the boat.
I have no idea what you guys are. You guys
what-
look 65.
You look elderly.
Yeah, you guys are pretty old, correct?
What is going on?
What do you mean?
Stu, why did you invite these people?
Oh, okay. So this is a couple of family friends of mine. This is Jen and Barry's ice cream. They're Vermont
Oh.
natives.
Yeah, we get that.
They're both, I think they're coming into town to pitch some sort of like new company to like that regional
Oh,
Shark
yes.
Tank thing.
Oh yes. So we know that Vermont is famous for its ice, but we figured that we had a business opportunity to put some positive energy out into the world.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
well, honey, what's the one thing we love more than anything?
Ice cream.
Cream.
Cream. So, what we don't know the first thing about making ice cream. So we
No
figured that
clue.
you guys could lend a helping hand to your fair friends and Earth sister and brother, and help us put together a couple new flavors to test our product.
Are you guys high? Are you okay?
What?
Like you sound
No,
fucked up.
Excuse me?
we're both absolutely zanned out of our brains.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm in touch with Mother Earth
Absolutely.
in many ways, and I appreciate all levels of life and all layers of the experience of walking this earth.
And
Okay.
Jen, thank you for opening up like that to the table. Why don't you lean across and give me a little kiss?
Don't do that. That was disgusting. Jen and Barry, what are you? Can we get to Stuart? What are we doing?
Look, I just called them off the street, Tim. Don't
My
attack
mouth
me.
has been agape this entire time.
Yeah, I'm
I just
shocked.
can't keep up with they want us to test ice cream.
I think they want some sort of test kitchen apparatus. I don't know.
Here's what we want to do. So, I've got a couple options. We've got some plain vanilla ice cream here, but we need to know what's the best mix in, and then we need to know what the products are going to be called.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
So, if anyone could just reach in and grab a mix in, we'll try these out and try to come up with names for the flavors and see which one we should lead with.
I don't think it's insane for us to ask you guys to come up with a fun new ice cream flavor for us to sell to the masses.
Okay. I've drawn one. I'm gonna be mixing in a kind bar.
Oh, that's right. I brought a nice caramel cashew kind bar. I would like you to mix into ice cream.
Okay,
for me.
Okay.
Jen is handing me a bunch of bowls and spoons.
Okay, let me just re-explain this game. Because
Do whatever you
should I
need
introduce
to do.
myself?
confused?
Yeah,
Whatever you need to do.
Who are you?
Jen and Barry, this is Ian. Ian, please introduce yourselves to these fucked up weirdos.
Hi, Jen and Barry. Do I have those names right?
Yes.
My wife's name is Jen.
I'm Jen, and
I'm
this is Barry, and
Barry.
we're Jen and Barry
Sice cream.
Why do you both have dreads?
What?
I'm allowed to use my hair however I would like to. you know,
Unfortunately, I didn't want to have dreadlocks, but I haven't had an opportunity to wash my hair in a very long time.
Yeah, I can smell you from across the table. So I guess basically what Jen and Barry want us to do is take a whole bunch of vanilla ice cream, put it into a bowl, and then we've each drawn our mix-ins from a red Solo cup, and we're expected to come up with a name based on those additions into this ice cream.
Exactly. And just remember, guys, whatever your flavor you come up with, it is going to be on the Jen and Barry Ice Cream brand.
So
Uh-huh.
Anthony, you are gonna. That's your name, right? Yeah, that's my name. I have a kind bar to mix into this vanilla ice cream. I'm going ahead and doing that right now. Oh, that's very good.
Hey,
Go ahead and do that.
are you guys confused at all by what's going on?
I think I'm just so blindsided by more than one person coming into this apartment while we're recording.
Isn't that just like life to throw you for a loop? you
Honey,
know?
I love you
weren't
so much.
expecting
Why don't you
it.
lean across the
Man.
table and give me another kiss?
Please don't. Stop
you.
kissing on the podcast.
Okay, yeah, I also want to stop this,
This is
kissing
really
right now.
Okay.
Let me so
uncomfortable.
let me
Can I-
just break this
Yeah.
down. Your guys' names are Jen and Barry Ice Cream, and you're from Vermont. Do you know about like
That was my question.
Ben and Jerry's
Yeah,
ice
Do you
cream?
have any
Who?
competition
What's
in
that?
Vermont?
Huh?
Ben and Jerry.
Who?
Uh,
Ben and Jerry's
No,
ice
it's-
cream.
It's Jen and Barry's ice cream.
No, we get. I think Ian and I get that. I
Yeah.
think it's just that there is a company in Vermont,
Yeah,
based in
it's-
Vermont.
Called Ben and Jerry's ice cream.
Right.
What?
Yeah,
I've
you
never
guys
heard
have
of it.
very similar names to an already famous
Well,
ice
Right,
cream.
right, but they
Should-
don't do mix-in fun punny
No.
ice cream flavors,
No,
do they?
that's exactly what they do.
What?
Yeah, there's a bunch of different, like Cherry Garcia is one of the
Listen,
Ben and Jerry flavors.
Americone
Listen,
Dream.
Jerry Garcia is one of my favorite guitar men. R.I.P. Spirit
R.I.P.
carries on. But look, I hate to be the one to reference time because I believe it's a construct that does not have a lot of use to us, but we don't have all day. We really need to know what we're mixing in here so we can try to get these flavors tested and named.
Okay, so I've just been handed a package of dry apricots, which is what I have picked from my Solo cup. And so I'm going to open this up and put a
Oh,
little
very
bit of
good.
these bad boys in. And
Very good.
That sounds delicious.
oh, these are wet.
They're tried.
No, they're wet.
I think Anthony got a pretty good flavor.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we all pick different things. Why don't we just go around the table real quick? Anthony, you got a kind bar.
Yeah, a caramel kind bar, and Barry, are we going to be sharing all of these? Like
Well,
everybody gets to try a bite of each
the
one.
way
right?
we want to do it is that everybody tries their own flavor, and then we're gonna rank them each, and the number one flavor is gonna go to the pitch meeting with us later this afternoon in Trump Tower.
We want everybody to be
Wait,
free
what?
to share.
What?
You're going to Trump Tower to pitch these ice creams.
Yes.
Why?
Well, we believe that we don't necessarily like Donald Trump, but we do think he's a good businessman.
He makes the right decisions for the right business.
Okay, fuck you
Yeah,
guys.
fuck
I
you
just want to
guys.
try this flavor. I've got the caramel kind bar. I'm gonna have a bite of this, and then
Okay.
I'll pass it around so you all
Well,
can get.
while
a
you're
sample.
tasting that flavor, Jen and Barry, sorry to take over the mic. It's Stuart again. Ian, what flavor are you going to be mixing in with your vanilla ice cream?
Okay, so I drew a post-it note that said crunchy nuggets on it. And I said,
What?
I have to mix crunchy nuggets with my vanilla ice cream. Okay, what could that be? Some kind of granola thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was
No.
then just
Granola
handed
thing.
sweet and tangy barbecued flavored corn snacks.
Ew.
Some like off-brand.
Off-brand, those are
Vintners?
Vintners.
I guess off-brand.
Vintners
We-
crunchy
We're
nuggets?
big believers in salty and savory and sweet.
Our
and
favorite thing in the
perfect
world are words that start with V and end in T.
Yeah, well, you did that.
It really feels like your favorite things are Xanax.
Stu, what did you get?
I picked out a post-it note that says Reese's snack mix. What is that? Is that some sort of like snack mix made of Reese's products?
Yeah, here you go.
Oh, thank you.
my God.
Jen.
That sounds good.
Yeah, that actually sounds like a great mix in for
Reese's.
vanilla
I'm
ice
Nuts.
cream.
essentially gonna
Nuts.
mix Cheetos with vanilla ice cream and then
Yeah.
eat it. Is what?
God, that sounds so fucking good.
Now, Tim, what about you?
I got dried apricots, and I have put my dried/wet apricots into my vanilla ice cream and have taken a bite. And I will say, this is a surprisingly good addition to
Here,
a vanilla
I
flavored
would like
ice
to
cream.
give that a try. I
Yeah.
had the kind bar. Yeah, so let's do these one by one. We'll start with Tim's.
Okay, yeah. So I've got vanilla ice cream with dried apricots. Anthony's about to stick this spoon onto his tongue-o, and we're gonna see what he thinks about it. I thought it was really fucking good. It's
Oh,
got
we're
like a
passing.
really nice, like weird crunchiness to it.
Oh my God.
It's sweet with that vanilla, but then that like mild sweetness of that dried apricot is so tasty.
I would really be interested in buying that.
Yeah.
Potentially. I like that dense kind of fruit mix in. I like those like cold chunks.
Yeah.
Mm.
Ian, what do you think? You've just chomped away at that.
And especially Ian, you
Yeah.
are the Vermont native at the table, other than Jen and Barry's
Way
ice
to
cream.
the
So
Yeah.
we want to
natives.
hear you as like you. Vermont has a heavy history
Right.
with cream and ice cream, especially.
Yeah, and I should actually also mention that I've been to. I'm sorry to mention their names right now, but the Ben and Jerry's factory.
Who?
Like,
Who are these people?
Oh my
guess it's
god!
better that
I
you-
can't believe you guys haven't heard of Ben and
Look,
Jerry's.
are they celebrities? The only celebrity we like is James Corden.
Are you talking about Ben Stiller and his dad
Jerry Stiller?
No.
from the movie Zoolander?
We like Zoolander.
All right, let's
I
keep
like
passing around these.
Zoolander, too.
Let's
Yeah,
keep passing
yeah.
around these ice creams.
should I take a bite of mine? I'm scared.
I think, well, you know what?
I'm
Ian,
worried
why
about
don't
you,
we go
Ian.
ahead and try yours next? I think we all kind of love that apricot taste in Tim's, but how will the Vintner's Crunchy Nuggets taste?
Yeah,
Sweet and
let's go.
tangy
I'm
barbecue?
gonna need a few seconds.
I actually think that mixin sounds fun, sweet, savory, and lots of competition for the flavor Olympics.
Don't be shy to pass that around.
Mhm.
We need
Actually,
to speed
hand
things
it-
up.
hand it
We
here.
need to get this ice cream back in the freezer in the trunk of our car.
So you're
Oh my-
selling this stuff outside of your car? Out of your car?
Right now, we are.
I fucking believe that. Like, you guys are fucked up.
We want to take things to Lincoln Park and start selling there.
I think you guys should leave the city and never return ever again. You guys should be arrested.
Excuse me.
All right, Ian and I are making eyes at each other
Yeah.
because we both tasted the sweet and tangy barbecue Vintner's
Oh,
Crunchy
God,
Nuggets
I don't
ice
wanna
cream.
taste this.
Honestly,
Interesting.
Not as sickening as I thought. It'd
No,
be.
there is a gross
No, that's
aftertaste of
disgusting.
barbecue. But okay, well,
That's
It
disgusting.
kind of feels like cereal.
yes, because of the it's cereal, but
cornmealy,
all
you
of
know?
the parts of it
Yeah.
are bad.
No, it's spicy tuna
Oh.
and milk. That's what,
What
it
are you-
tastes like. It
what are
tastes
you
like
talking
spicy tuna.
about?
It's disgusting.
That's heinous.
That
Hey,
might-
Jen and Barry, cross this one off your list right away.
Okay, I'll put a slash through it, just like my favorite guitarist.
I would put a circle around that vanilla and apricot. That
Drum
was really,
circle.
really tasty.
We should put a drum circle around the.
All right, seriously, let's
All right,
move on.
All right, so I'm gonna do the bite of the caramel almond and sea salt kind bar mix in.
That
Yeah.
that will probably be
I'm
really,
excited
really
for this
good.
one. Oh, thank you for the spoon. Oh, I lost my spoon.
Stu, what did you just? Oh, you handed me the Reese's mix in.
Yeah, sorry. I know we're just trying to really pass around all these ice creams all of a sudden. I don't know about you guys. This is also the first thing I've eaten today. I'm just drinking 3 cups of coffee, and so now the only thing inside me are a couple of different ice cream flavors. But I'm most excited, honestly, to try the flavors that have a normal mix in. This Kind bar sounds really good. The Reese's one sounds really good. Jen and Barry, you said that you're also looking for names of the ice creams, right?
Certainly. Yeah. That's what they said.
Yeah.
Oh
That's
man,
what we said.
That is
What
we
we're
said.
looking for fun, punny names for the winning ice cream flavor.
Like Ben and Jerry's.
Like who?
like Ben and Jerry's, Jen and Barry. Jesus Christ!
Do you know
Huge
James
factory.
Corden?
Just
Okay.
eat your
Let's
ice
all
cream.
vote. We've passed around the bowls. Guys, what do you think is the winning flavor? What's the mix in that you would prefer?
I haven't tasted the Kind bar yet, but I'm sick already. I'm super lactose intolerant, and
Oh,
I feel like
no.
I'm gonna shit in the next hour and a half.
And you're not
Oh,
gonna like
no.
this, but our vanilla ice cream is extra creamy.
Oh yeah, I fucking feel it. It's like a big fucking weight. I'm gonna throw my vote in on this apricot one. I think that's like the most different one, and it's just a different texture than I've ever tasted too.
Ian, do you apricot a different opinion?
I think I do. I think my favorite is the Kind bar.
That's fair.
Ooh.
The
Wow.
kindest flavor to my stomach.
Damn.
Yeah, I think the apricot one and the Kind bar are both very good, but I don't hate the Reese's snack mix.
The
It has a
Reese's
crunch
Snack
that I
Mix-
can't deny.
The Reese's snack mix is really good, but it's almost like too basic. I feel like
Yeah.
I've seen that flavor elsewhere. I'm gonna go with Tim and agree on the apricot.
Yeah.
Interesting. Ian, what is your final decision? Would you like to go in with the apricot,
I
or are you willing to start a war for the Kind bar?
think I'm willing to start a war for the Kind bar.
That's
I will,
fair.
I will also be siding with Ian on the Kind bar. I think that crunch is pretty subtle, and I like
Okay,
the caramel mix in.
Sounds
Yeah.
like we have 2 flavors that need names.
Yeah.
Apricot.
How about apricot Levita?
I love that.
Okay, well, I also have another one for apricot.
What is that? Wait, apricot Levita?
I have no idea. I got this one. Apra Welcome Back Cotter.
Well, I don't know
Oh,
either
darn.
of these. What?
TV.
These are both. These are TV
You know,
references.
like Inagata Levita, baby.
Okay, that's what I
Yeah,
thought.
these are
Okay.
both references to things from the mid 70s.
Okay, and what was yours, Tim?
Apra Welcome Back Cotter.
Welcome Back, Cotter was a
Well,
show
it
from
was
the
a show.
70s
Yeah.
about a teacher
Okay,
returning
what
to
about-
his high school.
What about a name for the flavor with the Kind bar?
Yeah. Well, Ian, of course, you and I are standing that one, so we
Yeah.
got to come up with some sort of nime. What do you think about kindly give me another scoop?
Oh, that's good. That's good.
I don't like
Some
it.
kind of wonderful.
Oh,
Yeah, that is actually
That's
a really
pretty
good one.
great.
That's pretty fucking
That's wonderful.
incredible.
Hey,
Yeah.
well,
Kind of
maybe-
contrived.
I'm
Maybe
sorry.
you-
Is that your suggestion for the flavor
Yeah,
name?
you use Dean's vanilla ice cream. I can see the label.
Don't look at that! Don't look at that!
It's actually our ice cream. Guys, no flavor would be complete without a little bit of rainbow sprinkle on top.
Oh,
So
Jesus.
here we go.
No, not. You're adding Tic Tacs.
No,
Look,
those are rainbow sprinkles.
Jen and Barry, we have tried your flavors. We have named your flavors. What else do you want from us? Like,
I guess we just want to be here for the rest of the podcast.
that will absolutely not happen.
Do you mind if I take over for Anthony's seat?
I do. I do.
I mind. I don't want that either.
Anthony, I think maybe you have to step aside.
Okay, in order to get them to leave, I'm gonna have a bite of this rainbow sprinkle Tic Tac.
And once again,
concoction.
for everyone at home, that is a bunch of fruit Tic Tacs.
Oh, it's so crunchy, Anthony. Anthony just took it. At least 6 Tic Tacs and started biting on into them. That's fucked up, man. It's one Tic Tac at a time.
Hey,
It's more Tic Tacs than ice cream in here.
I know you guys don't want my comments on the show, but this segment's a mess.
It really is. You guys came in like like barred out freaks.
Hey, that's not very nice to say to guests, but I respect you and your opinions.
Yes, I like you a lot. Would you ever want to carpool karaoke with us?
I don't want to see you ever again.
I'm also not that. You were family friends of mine, I think. So
Yeah,
I don't.
write
I
'em
don't
off.
want anything to do with
All
you.
right,
Yeah,
Jen
like-
and Barry's ice cream. Your business is doomed to fail, but thank you for coming by.
Okay, well, thanks. I guess we'll just be standing in the other side of the room if you want to ask
No.
us any Vermont questions.
No, you're getting out. You're
Peace
getting
and
out of the
love,
apartment.
One love, everybody. Be kind to each other.
I love you. And Ian, don't come back.
Stuart.
Yeah.
Why-
Bye, guys.
Why? How do you know? Why
how
do
do
you
you
know
know
these
Obviously,
people
I
had-
screwed up. Okay, listen. I know I screwed up. The game was my responsibility, and our scheduling mishap has put me in such a rough place that now I have to call in a couple of family friends and Xanax addicts. You think I'm happy about what just happened, Tim?
I don't know what you're unhappy about. This was crazy.
It was maybe the best game we've ever had, though, right, Ian?
That was very fun.
I have to say, I do like ice cream.
Yeah.
I don't like Vintners very much.
Yeah, a lot of these mix-ins really suck.
Yeah, they just left the mix-ins here too, and we just
Yeah.
have a bunch of Dean's ice cream on the table
Yeah, it's
now.
gonna
too.
melt throughout the course of
Yeah,
this
they didn't
podcast.
take the ice cream. Weren't they like freaked at it? Look, we should just move on,
Yeah,
right?
we really should move on.
Ian,
I will say, as messy as that was to watch two people struggle through a company that they're trying to get off the ground, I have gone to the Ben and Jerry's factory and seen the tour so many times. I've actually walked through like the gate where you or the like the passageway where you look over the manufacturing part, and they've got all the pints of ice cream and all the big
Ooh.
machinery and stuff. One time, I saw Ben and Jerry's operation go awry.
what?
Oh my god.
Yeah. And the caps weren't going on, the lids weren't going on the pints of ice cream, and they were just like flipping over on a conveyor belt. Like 80 pints of ice cream just like went bad and just like mess everywhere. They had to get like a big mop and like hose
Oh,
everything down.
shit.
That's an insane story
Yeah.
because I thought the biggest waste of ice cream recently was this Instagram fad of people licking them. What's going on with that, Tim?
Licking ice cream?
Yeah, everybody on Instagram's going into Target, opening up the cold case and licking the tops of
Oh,
ice cream and putting them right back in there for
yo,
me to
what?
buy.
Go to jail, whoever does. Like,
Go
go
to jail.
straight
Go
to
to jail.
jail. Turn yourself in. That's fucked up.
That's wild.
Well, speaking of criminals, Jen and Barry are out of here. So do we want to move on to the first segment of the podcast?
Yeah,
The
I'm.
first segment.
This is exactly. This is.
Maybe we
need-
should get the ice cream in the fridge or
When-
the.
What
I
are
don't
you
know.
talking?
You
Yeah, here.
Yeah.
Hand it over to me. In the meantime, I mean, Tim, what are we doing, man?
I don't know. I'm gonna need a lot of therapy. So that was the game segment presented by Jen and Barry Ice Cream. We're gonna move on to our first sense of the state by exploring Vermont with our noses. So what I've prepared for you all today is something that we haven't seen in quite a long time. It's certain products that we have yet to be emailed back from,
Whoa,
and it is a candle.
big moves.
It's one of these
Welcome
Vermont.
back.
It's one of these candles of a company for who will not be named until they email us back because we want their sponsorship. And if they don't email us back, we'll never say their name.
And we'll start promoting other candles.
We will start promoting other candles. But we've gotten this candle, and it's a Vermont styled candle. On the box, it says fall foliage and baked apples, kissed with a touch of maple, fresh
kissed.
eucalyptus, and notes of cinnamon, clove, and vanilla.
Kissed with a touch of what?
Eucalyptus.
Oh, man. Maybe we should bring in two experts on kissing, Jen and Barry Ice
No,
Cream.
no,
Oh.
seriously, no. So I'm gonna pass around this candle really quick. Everybody's gonna get a quick scent. Right now, I'm already smelling like
Wow,
a delicious cake.
that's very clove heavy to me. That's super
Hmm.
clovey.
Yeah.
Ian,
yeah.
when Tim was reading off the ingredients on that box, did anything jump out at you as something that like, oh, that's definitely the smell of Vermont?
Well, the maple, of course.
Mm.
Yeah.
Maple. Yeah. You said maple syrup.
Yeah,
It's
well,
supposed to-
there's
yeah.
like on the box. Let me read the box again. Fall foliage and baked apples, kissed with a touch of maple, not eucalyptus. Fresh eucalyptus and notes of cinnamon, clove, and vanilla.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. This is a good time to bring this up. There are
Sure.
two parts of Vermont. There's like the resort. A lot of the money comes through Vermont through like tourism and
Sure.
like people visiting for skiing and outdoor stuff.
And for fucking.
and yeah, and going into hot tubs.
Conceiving.
My dad.
Conceive.
Yeah, and yeah, there's like this whole outdoorsy kind of fun,
Right.
adventure.
So that's
side.
one half.
And then there's the other half, which is like the people who live there. And I think this is marketed towards, the people who want a taste of Vermont. They don't want to live there or something, you know what I mean? Or, not that they don't want to live there, but
So you think this is for phony fucks?
I don't think it's for phony fucks. I think Vermont doesn't exist without the two.
Oh, interesting.
Much like the yin and yang, one part cannot exist without the other. It's a perfect balance.
Much like the Jen and Barry's ice cream, one cannot exist without the other.
They are the perfect states of matter, Jen and Barry. Tim, you're holding the candle right now.
Yeah.
I just got a big whiff of it. I actually kind of love that smell. I think it's really calming, and to me, it kind of smells like when you'd walk by like a Bed and Body Works or something
Yeah.
at the mall.
Like a pottery barn. It smells
Yeah.
like a pottery
It
barn.
smells
to me.
really nice, but I feel like we're not going to get the true scent until we light.
Yeah, so I have a lighter. I'm going to light this bad boy up,
Ooh.
and we're just going to sit in the smell of Vermont while I think we do the rest of these segments. I think
Hell yeah.
it's going to be quite nice.
I'm so
definitely
excited.
Yeah.
I like the way that historically we've experienced this with this candle brand, but when it's lit, it opens up so much more of that smell beyond the clove. So I'm excited for it to permeate throughout the room so we can return to it later.
You're begging for this sponsorship.
Oh, we are begging for it. We've been begging for it since November. I mean,
Can I
it's
say
I mean,
the
it
brand
makes
name
too
and then
much
we can bleep
sense.
it?
if you say the brand name, we will bleep it out.
We have been bleeping it historically.
That's why'd you do that?
Get
Can't-
bleeped.
Camden
Our
has so
producer-
much extra work.
Yeah, he's sitting right next to you, just like.
Don't say
Oh, that's fucked up.
What
Anthony.
if I'm talking about specifically though, like me wanting to go back to my childhood home? How should I refer to that?
Oh, well, you'd be.
Right. But what if I was referring
think
to
we
this
should bleep
candle
that.
company?
Oh man, I don't know, guys. I'm trying to waft this smell into my nose because we are burning it now. And I'm not really getting I'm not getting much. It's only been burning for a couple seconds.
I think we have to let it come back. Maybe we'll refer back to it in our last segment. Something I am worried about genuinely though is like a moth to a bright light. Will this smell bring Jen and Barry back into the room?
if they do, I will consider murdering them.
I'd like to ask them more questions.
I think they were such a wealth of funny
Listen.
stuff.
Listen, if those two ever come back, I can say with absolute certainty, I will not be in the room.
I mean, here's the thing. I'm a non-native. Those are two natives. Stu, you knew two natives and you brought me on.
Yeah, and what's crazy, they were in town outside of our apartment too. So,
Oh,
what are
man.
you gonna do?
Ah,
Regardless, though, I think this candle smells pretty nice. I
Yeah.
think that maple is definitely a Vermonty reference, but we need some sort of way to ask Ian how successful this is as a smell of Vermont. Some way
Yeah.
to rank it.
Ian, maybe aside from the ranking apart, Ian, do you associate the smell at all with Vermont?
I'm grabbing it real quick.
Oh, it's a lit candle. Watch out. We do have carpet on the ground.
Yeah.
I do.
You think it
Hell yeah.
is
Yeah.
associated with Vermont?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, guys, I
But-
don't. What?
No, I just want to know why.
Yeah, why?
Sorry, I really had some attitude. I was like,
Fucking I'm so
Yeah.
mad
No.
about Jen and Barry.
I'm honestly thinking about excommunicating them from the family friend list. But I don't know.
I kind of like them. They had a positive energy.
Let's bring it back in.
No, Ian.
yeah.
This candle, why is it associated with Vermont in your eyes?
It's truly just like it's like sweet and natural. I feel like
Mm.
that's you smell the air when you like land or you drive up to Vermont from New York or something or from anywhere else, and you're like, the air is better. It's like there's this natural goodness to everything that seems almost mythical, like you'd read in a book or you're in a movie or something. But there's something sweet in the air.
You know, I actually do have a rating system potentially for this smell.
Okay.
Out of the 6 collective feet of Jen and Barry's dreads, how many feet do you give this candle?
I give this 5 out of 6 feet.
That's 5. Wow, that's a pretty long
Yeah.
dread.
Damn.
That's huge.
All right, cool. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll take it. That's the candle company for you.
I think so. And let me ask, out of everyone at this table, myself included, who do you think would look best with dreadlocks?
Oh God.
None of us should have dreadlocks.
None of us should have dreadlocks.
None of us should have dreadlocks. Let's not.
Sounds like maybe me.
All right. Well, that was the sound segment, or not the sound segment. That was not even close. That was the smell segment of Vermont. Ian gave us a 5 out of 6 feet of a dreadlock. To whatever about this fucking smell.
I think it's good. I do like it.
We're gonna move on to the next regular segment. Anthony has prepared for us a visual presentation, and I am passing over the PowerPoint to Stuart so Anthony doesn't get his grubby little hands on it.
I'm making a little bit of space for the PowerPoint, and in the meantime, Ian, if you just want to eat all the rest of those Vintner's Sweet Barbecue tangy crunchy nuggets, that would be great.
Move them from in front of me to a desk that's further away.
Thank you so much.
Don't get to look at them.
Sweet
anymore.
boy. Anthony, what are we looking at?
All right, we're starting with the title slide. Vermont! ! Who's excited? I am. Let's move on to that state outline.
Whoa!
This one is such a strange outline to me. It doesn't really look like much. Do you guys have any points of comparison for this? It's hard to describe.
I do, and I want to bring it back to Ian's memories of his childhood. Well, or the memories you were told as a childhood. I think this sort of looks like a man naked from below the waist. Now, hear me out. On the left side, you can see the little low-hanging pecker head. Yeah. And on the right side, you can see those high-up little butt cheeks, holding in right there. And maybe these are the bottom of his pants or something. We don't have feet. We don't have above the waist, but we are seeing from the top of his jeans to the bottom of his jeans, or where they would be, including both his little pecker head and his tight little butt. What do you guys think of that?
I don't disagree. I definitely see where you're coming from with his little peenie and his nice little butt. I just can't believe that this state outline looked the way this looks like a fake state outline.
I know.
I agree. I've never heard of anyone looking at the outline of Vermont and making some Italy kind of reference. It looks like a boot, or look at this part. It looks like this,
Is this an accurate outline? It feels like it's not.
It feels like it's really not.
It's not. Yeah.
We're all sort of looking at Anthony right now. I feel like my biggest problem is that on the side of this candle, which will not be named, there is an outline for the state, and it's much more detailed and interesting.
Oh, yeah. This is a pretty cookie cutter version of that. It doesn't have any of the detail, none of the islands up at the top or extending
but this
area.
hack outline does stay pretty true to
it does.
What we're seeing on this
there's
candle.
there's still cheek on the real one, and there's still peener on the real one.
On the real one, there are high and tight little butt cheeks.
Very interesting state outline. It's part of that Northeast clusterfuck where it just it's a free-for-all in terms of where the borders are at. So let's move on to the next slide and start diving in a little deeper here. Here we have quite an awesome state flag as far as I'm concerned. It's not too special, but it just looks great. There's the azure background. It's like a deep blue. But then there's the state coat of arms laid in the middle there. So what we've got there, I'll just run through it real quick. We have a green landscape with blue mountains and a yellow sky in the background. We have 3 sheaves of wheat over to the side to represent the agriculture, and a cow as well in that area to represent the farmland. And then we have a natural pine to represent all the forests throughout the state, just smack dab in the middle there. The state coat of arms is topped by a buck's head looking off to the left. It's got giant antlers. And then at the bottom, there is a little banner with the state motto, Freedom and Unity, Vermont. What do you guys think of that flag? I think it looks great. I love that natural flair to it.
Yeah, I'd love to come in and say that this is exactly what I thought the state flag for Vermont would look like, where we have a cow in there. We have a lot of that nature. We have freedom and unity. I will say the A in and is covered up by part of the thing, so it reads Freedom Vermont ND Unity. So what does ND could stand for? So many things.
Notre Dame.
No dice.
No dice.
Which is a good Nevada episode, if you ask me. Ian, let me ask you, when you look at this flag, does this represent the state you know so well? I mean, there's some purple mountains right there in the back that I'm sure you're sweating to shred.
Yes. Well, they might be purple on the flag, but they're definitely green in real life. The
True.
Green Mountains.
They
Yeah.
are the Green Mountains.
And is it? I mean, maybe you know better than me, but is this the Green Mountain State?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I believe that's the official name for it. But why? Is it because the mountains are that green?
I think it must be because of all those hippies going up to fuck and they're smoking grass.
Ah, yes. Ah, yes. Ian, if you were to have unprotected sex on a mountain in Vermont, would you feel comfortable doing it in the bed of a truck or on a blanket unrolled in like a grassy meadow? Which of those is the better option?
Unprotected.
It
was
is
what you led
unprotected,
with?
and this is with, I will say, this
Jesus
is, hold on.
Christ.
This is with a stranger.
What?
You
Oh
just,
my
you met them,
God.
you met them on the ride up there. You were going to give them a ride up the mountain, and then you kind of fell in lust in the car.
Okay. Well,
Ian, you don't have to answer.
You don't have to be
flip
party
it,
to this
Flip
bullshit.
flip it right back on Stuart. I bet he will have no answer.
Back of the truck.
These mountains should be greener than Vermont the Frog. To bring back a joke that didn't
Oh,
work
man.
once.
I mean, Ian, you seem like a smart guy when it comes to visual design as well. You're wearing a shirt that looks really cool. How does this flag pop out to you? Are you interested in it? Are you interested in the different pieces? What's your favorite part?
It just puts me generally at ease. The voice crack.
Yeah.
It puts me generally at ease. I look at it and I just feel there's not a lot going on, but what is going on, I'm just like, okay, it's not gaudy, it's not over the top. It does look like regal and like royal, like a flag should look, I think. But it doesn't pop out at you like I'm the greatest flag.
Mhm.
It's something nice you could put up in a college dorm room, and it would be kind of tasteful. It wouldn't be like
Yeah.
you're putting up like another flag that might be a little
It's
more imposing.
reserved.
This is a clear mood piece for me, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Something about that gradient of the sky really draws me into the image. I'm like, ooh, I'm nice and cozy. I'm looking out at those mountains and I'm relaxing in the back of a truck having just had raw dog
Oh my
sex with
Jesus
a
Christ.
stranger.
I have just finished and clarity has hit me, and now I'm worried about my own body's safety. But Tim,
Ugh.
you brought up the gradient of the sky. That's something I want to mention. Not often do you see color gradients on flags.
Yeah.
Normally it's basic, simple colors, but this one has sort of like a yellow to orange, almost purpley, like it's sunset or sunrise in Vermont, and we're seeing it. And I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm really into this flag.
Ian, you said that looking at this flag calms you down and makes you feel at ease. Perhaps we should leave it up in case Stu says anything else throughout the course of this episode. Let's move on to the next slide here. Beautiful flag. This is the hermit thrush, the state bird. Talk about a little peckerhead. That's a cute little guy right there. He's brown with a white underbelly. He looks a little chubby with like stick-like legs. But he's out in the middle of a forest there. What do you think of that state bird? Do you think it's representative of the state?
I think so. I've never heard about the state bird, but yeah,
It's called the peckerhead?
it's called the
No.
No, it's called the hermit thrush.
I think
Oh, okay.
that's the reason you've never heard of it. This bird probably never comes out to greet anybody.
It's pretty nondescript. It's like it's just a
Yeah.
brown bird. It's like got like a white spotted belly and against a pretty brown background. It almost blends in like a regular old bird.
I'm a little bit worried that maybe this image. All right, so maybe this image is stretched in a strange way, but this
I
is
agree.
a chubby and not aerodynamic looking bird.
right. Yeah,
This is the tallest bird I think I've ever seen in comparison to the size of its body horizontally.
it's a very strange shaped bird, and honestly, I look at it and I go like, it's a throwaway kind of state, thing. You
Mm.
know what I mean? Like, it doesn't, it's not like a bald eagle or something.
Oh, but
you know?
that's kind of fucked up that Vermont would just choose a throwaway bird.
I feel like so many other things are so spot on with Vermont, like the maple leaf. you
Yeah,
know
and
what I
they've got
mean?
all the green and the skiing, but this bird is just a fuck
If
show.
only there was like a really cool bird who was like into nature, into liberal policy, and landed on Bernie's podium while he was making a speech.
Oh,
You want a
very
state bird of
cute.
Vermont?
What was
It's that one.
What bird was that?
A bird. I don't know, Tim. It's a wild bird.
I'm going to come to the defense of the hermit thrush. I think you guys are body shaming my friend here, and I won't stand for that. I like him. I think that he, even if he can't fly, Looks like a pleasant friend to have around, and I would give him a nice high five if he hopped over to me. I think he represents the state well.
Look, I don't mean to body shame this bird, but this bird has done something to this image to make it look different. This is a clearly visually modified
yes,
it. This is
yes.
distorted.
This
making
is
themselves look
Tim.
better.
This is hashtag Instagram reality. All right.
Fuck this. I'm
God, I'm
putting down my
tired.
phone.
All right, let's look at something that might be a little more calming. Here's the state flower, the red clover. What do you guys think of this? It's almost kind of like if a dandelion were pink.
Yeah, I don't know if
Yeah.
I'd call it the red clover, maybe the crimson clover.
Crimson.
It's pink. It's magenta. It's not crimson. Crimson's the color of blood. That is pink.
This feels very Vermont, though. This,
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why is that? Is it the beauty of it? Is it the color? Tell me about it, Ian.
It's it feels like some kind of, it's just you're out there. You're out in the country, and I feel like you don't get this vibrant green color blast contrasted by all this magenta.
Mm.
Just in the city where you're coming from to Vermont.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't really have much to say
No.
about it. I'm not. Please
I've
edit all that out.
I've never seen this kind of what have you even seen this kind of flower in person? I've never seen a flower quite like that. It looks sharp.
It does look really sharp.
And
Do you guys mean
dangerous.
sharp as in like well dressed? Because I think it looks great.
Oh man, maybe we should move on.
Yeah, let's
Mm,
move on. Here we can
okay.
get into the city level here. This
Yeah,
is a nice
good.
shot of
Yeah.
the most populated city in Vermont, Burlington. Fun fact about Burlington, in terms of all the most populous cities throughout the United States, this is the least populous, most populous, if that makes sense.
Ah, that does make
Wow.
sense.
So
Sure,
it's the
last
bottom,
winner.
the bottom of the list of most populated cities.
Yeah, it qualifies for that list, but it's at the very bottom.
It's a small fish in a big pond.
Yeah. It's an interesting cityscape here. We have this from an angle where there is like a harbor line almost. And then there's this stretch of small buildings back there. It doesn't look like a major metropolitan city or
Mhm.
anything. It looks like a pretty calm town almost.
It definitely looks like the kind of town where like a Stephen King novel would be set. There's
Mm,
not really any
yeah.
industry or anything, but there are a ton of church steeples that I see kind of poking out from different places. So like
Tons of trees as well.
trees,
Yeah.
spirituality, you have the bay. Let me ask you, Ian, is Vermont on the water of some great lake?
It is. It is.
Okay.
Lake
Oh.
Champlain. Well, I don't know if Lake Champlain's a Great Lake. Is it?
I have no idea. I know champagne's a great drink.
It is.
Camden is saying no, Champlain is not a great lake. So, regardless,
this is
I kind
the
of
only photo you showed me where I've been like, oh yeah, I kind of have something to talk about. I mean, what do you think about this flower? I don't know. It's a fucking.
welcome to every guest on our podcast, Ian.
Oh,
I mean, this picture kind of has everything. This city has everything. It's got boats, it's got water, it's got like a waterfront, it's got
Mhm.
buildings and forest and mountains in the back stretching back into the sky. It's got land, it's got sea.
It's a little bit of everything, just like those Jen and Barry's ice cream flavors we'd had earlier. Every taste is represented, sweet to savory. I love this Burlington city.
So naturally, you've been to Burlington.
naturally.
What do you think? What are your thoughts? What's it like?
I really like Burlington. It's probably one of it's in the top 10 of cities I've ever been to.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah. And I
High praise.
just this picture, I think, does it so much justice. You are on the water. Lake Champlain is right there, and it's huge. It's massive. And then you're surrounded by the Green Mountains.
Just like Vermont in general, you're kind of getting the best of all worlds, whether that's the summer hiking or the winter skiing.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Interesting. This
I'd
is
say.
really interesting.
My mom actually, she's a hospital pharmacist, and she did her resident. I think it was her residency in Burlington. In
It
a
seems
hospital there for 2
so
years.
cozy there.
Yeah.
Like I could get a nice, cheap little apartment, write some nice poetry, publish myself, and die where all my work is released posthumously and I'm
Then you
finally successful.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you. your mom was a hospital pharmacist. Did she ever prescribe Xanax to Jen and Barry's ice cream?
All right, let's move
Let's
on to
move
the
on.
next slide. We'll go down to the street level.
Yes.
I'm sure you were wondering where you would go to buy a nice shirt in Burlington. You could definitely stop at Banana Republic, which is prominently featured in this shot.
Yeah.
But this is downtown Burlington. It's right on Church Street,
Yes.
which is a big kind of city walk feel. We've seen some variants of this. Like we had a similar situation in Denver when we were doing the Colorado episode.
Sure.
What was that? 13th Street.
16th Street.
16th Street. I was 3 off. God damn it. But here we have like a nice little shopping area, like kind of like an open area, open air mall kind of thing.
Yeah.
You could bounce back and forth through the shops. But it looks really pleasant, and I do love the inclusion of oh my God, I don't know what happened there. Vintner's coming back up to haunt me. But we have the nice green trees spaced throughout. I think that's a really nice touch.
Yeah. It feels very open, very natural. You don't feel like you're in a city when you're on Church Street and you're walking down it. You look one way, you got the big church there, and then you look down the other way, and it goes right into the water breeding.
Oh, really?
It goes
wow.
down towards water. I mean, all the shops kind of
Sure.
stop, but yeah.
I mean,
goes-
I think I'm comfortable saying, after seeing this picture, take me to Church Street.
Mm.
Nice.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Thanks.
Sorry.
Oh
Closure.
man, y'all.
Oh man.
Can we move on?
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
go. Let's go. Here we have we have a residential area in South Burlington. We
Yeah.
definitely don't have to spend too much time on this slide because it is pretty boring.
I
There-
know
you
exactly where this is.
Wait,
Oh,
What?
it's
Really?
awesome. But this is a different area. You know, South Burlington is a separate place from Burlington itself. But here we have a long residential stretch, kind of like those cookie cutter housing projects,
Right.
or home complexes, and then basic suburbia smack dab in the middle of all this gorgeous green layered land with all these trees and plains.
Yeah. God, I would love to own a house out here and be able to come here for, if I want in the winters to enjoy the cold, or if I want in the summers to enjoy the heat.
Either one will do.
Oh,
And
God.
I've driven down this highway so many times
Oh, what?
before.
Sorry.
Excuse me? Highway?
Yeah.
What
What?
highway is that?
Yeah, which one?
Oh, you're the highway head.
I'm big highway head. I'm huge on highway.
You know,
Oh,
I'm really
God.
bad about the roads there.
No,
I'm
that's
sorry.
that is fine.
If we had a
That's fine.
no.
If we had a road map, is that what you're gonna say?
If I were the state outline right now,
Yeah.
my little peepee would
Okay.
No.
Look, we should move on from South Burlington.
South Burlington looks like a perfectly fine place to live, but it does look like it might feel a little empty. Just that suburban sprawl gets a little dense sometimes, and there's not a lot to do. Let's move on. Here we have Rutland, the third most populous city in Vermont. It's full of color in this shot. It has high steeples, but there are like bright red buildings throughout. And I think this is a really gorgeous shot because once again, you get the mountains in the background. I love how those are always featured.
Stu has had his mouth open since we got on the slide. Stu, why are you so astonished?
Well, it's the opportunity for the perfect joke. I thought we might get into a rut looking at all these pictures of Burlington, and here we are popping right out of it.
Popping right out of our coat.
Yeah, that
Ian,
fucking
have-
sucked.
Ian, have you ever been to Rutland?
I have been a number of times. Yeah. They have a really nice restaurant there called Prohibition Pig that everyone raves about.
Ooh,
Prohibition
nice.
pig.
Yeah, and I haven't eaten there recently. I think I've only actually been there
What
once.
what
but
kind of food is it?
I think it's like a lot of ham stuff. They do like
That makes sense.
they do ham stuff there. Hey, there's a lot of churches here, right, Stu?
Yeah, what's up with all these churches?
And what's with all this red? I thought it was a blue state.
Look, I know Anthony, maybe you can answer it, or Ian, you've been there. Is Vermont a very religious state?
Is Vermont? It's the most tolerant place in the best way you'll ever go to, I think. But then again, there's like not a lot of diversity there as far as like a race or I don't know actually. I don't feel comfortable speaking right off the cuff, but
Yeah.
there are a lot of churches there, and I'm sure there are a lot of people practicing Christianity, but it's very open. Like I've gone to Unitarian Universalist
Yeah.
churches throughout my life, and like
Oh.
that kind of seems like the vibe. It's
Yeah.
like come there,
Everyone's
worship what you
welcome.
want.
Let's
Yeah,
celebrate
yeah,
together. That
I-
kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think like any of the northeast areas, it's just got like a heavy white Protestant presence. Presence.
No,
Jesus
I heard
Christ.
you leaning toward presidents, but we'll get there in my
Unlike-
sound segment.
Listen, unlike the prohibition pig, I cannot speak easy. I am having a tough time. But no, I do think it's just one of those areas where it's like almost exclusively white Protestant people who settled it, and,
Yeah.
and it's kind of remained that way.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily like it, from at least my experience, but once again, I am a white person, so perhaps I wouldn't know, but it doesn't seem like it's a very exclusive kind of area. It just seems like that's the kind of folks who stuck around. So I think these are more just a part of the history, still remaining there to this day, rather than I don't think there are many new churches going up throughout these.
Yeah, I agree
these
with
days.
Anthony.
These
That's a
definitely
good
look
point.
like old churches. A
Mhm.
new church, I
Yeah.
mean, what? Let's get back into Instagram reality. Probably going to be thin in Photoshop.
Does anyone have any final thoughts on Rutland, or should we move right on to an almost identical slide?
Let's move
What?
right on.
All right, here we have a
Dude, what?
strikingly similar slide, but this is the state capital. I think it's pronounced Montpellier.
Oh, I have Montplier as that's what I read it.
Montpelier.
Wait, do you not know?
Is it
No.
Markiplier?
It's Montpelier, guys.
Pelier. Pelier.
Pelier.
Is this a bit?
No,
no,
no.
I
Wait,
genuinely
really?
didn't know.
Yeah.
I've only seen it written.
Ian,
Oh.
we don't know stuff about this state.
Yeah.
I know. I've never been there though.
Oh.
But Stu, there's a church there.
I know. Do you want me to
Steeples.
sing again? This is a beautiful photo, but I mean, you can definitely see the watermark of the stock image website that you
Okay,
ripped
fuck
it
off.
from.
I
God,
tried.
that's so funny.
I tried. Ignore it.
This is, I mean, people, say, fall colors. You got to go to Vermont for the fall colors. It's like a 3-week,
Absolutely.
probably a little more. You get it in upstate New York too. It's just so many rolling green hills that red and orange and yellow, and it just looks like whole mountains are like on fire in such a vibrant way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
despite the watermark, I really wanted to include this slide just because it captured so much of that foliage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This
You know,
is
it
great.
looks so similar to the last slide that I'm just so curious. Like, what's with all this red? I thought it was a blue state.
Oh my God.
Let's move on. This will be a little more familiar because this is more your experience with it,
Yeah.
Ian. This is Killington Ski Resort, one
Yeah.
of the many, many ski resorts that are
Yeah.
famous up in Vermont. Just a standard ski lift where your dad could share some stories, and then a nice inn where he might experience some new friendships. But it looks like people are out there hitting the slopes,
Oh,
having a good
yeah.
time.
Uh-huh.
And once again,
Yeah.
as with every other photo in this presentation, pretty much, we have mountains in the background, more mountains.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it on the seal of the flag, but there were mountains in the backgrounds of just about everything we've looked at. It's crazy because I did not come in today thinking that Vermont was a particularly elevated or mountainous state. And now here I am looking at these they're not foothills, they're entire leg hills. They're
Yeah.
pretty big.
Yeah, it's almost like Vermont is Colorado East.
Shut the fuck up, dude.
Have you ever been to Killington, Ian?
I have not been to Killington. I don't believe. Maybe I've been there as a child.
Where do you normally go to ski?
Sugarbush.
Sugarbush,
That's
right,
that's
right.
I was
Yes.
within a hair of including Sugarbush, but I didn't want to just make
Really?
the slide.
You were
8.
within a hair
Wow.
of including the sugar
Okay,
bush?
you did that, not me. You put that piece together.
Yeah.
But that's where we have a place now, and that's where we just like spend all our time. We go on the mountain there, but before that we were always going up to Vermont. We were like, this time we'll go to Burlington, this time we'll go to Killington or Smuggler's Notch or Mount
What-
Snow or something.
Smuggler's Notch.
Yeah, it sounds like a pirates,
It
like
really does.
One-Eyed Willie, the Goonies or something, right?
What about pirate skiers, guys? What about pirates on the side of a mountain skiing to protect their treasure?
my boot on the peg.
My booty, and he's talking about a ski booty.
Yeah, that's good. That is good.
Walk
the plank. 2 of them. They're skis. That one didn't land, but
Ian, how good
Yeah.
of a skier are you?
I'm pretty good. In middle school, my dad tried to convince me to leave my public school in Long Island to go to a private school in Long Island or in Vermont to like do like a ski school, private school mixed with like like a
Whoa.
private
Is,
school that
is,
would
is
get me
that
into a
is
good
that the kind of
college and
school
stuff.
where you like learn math while skiing, or
Bring
Yeah,
whiteboards,
he's
you gotta
like-
learn
whiteboards.
the angle.
yeah, I don't.
Yeah, right.
Is skiing integrated to the other classes there, or is it just like we have an extracurricular activity outside of school? It's the mountain.
I think it's like every day you go out. And yeah, it was called I forget the name of the school, but it was really close to where we had our place.
Yeah.
And yeah, I almost went. I should have taken a tour at
I-
least, but
I had
Yeah.
a childhood friend who went to Vermont when she was in like maybe the 6th grade
uh-huh.
to I don't think study skiing, but to ski like every single day of the rest of her life to become like an Olympian.
Yeah.
And
Jesus.
I think she almost made it or like qualified for the Olympics after so many years of skiing. But yeah, they would go up to Vermont in a place like this and just like ski every single day and go
Yeah.
to school like 3 hours a day.
Yeah, right. That seemed like the situation.
Does-
Yeah.
Does that appeal to you, or do you feel like it would make a hobby that you really enjoy into like
Work.
work?
Yeah. Work. I don't know. I go back and forth. What I think I was into it a little bit, and then I just moved from New Jersey to Long Island, so I just made friends. It was like 8th grade, and my dad was saying, "Let's movie again." And I was telling my friend this, who he was a really good friend at the time, and he still is, and he was like saying like, "No, you can't do that," and that was pretty much all that it took to convince me. But also, he told me his dad told him one time that his dad's friend said he was like a competitive racing skier, and he went down a mountain so fast, like you're going like 80 miles per hour if
Oh,
you're
yeah.
like doing this stuff like hardcore, and he like slipped up just a little bit, and like your ski pole at that point or your ski is just like
it's a missile.
that's a missile. It's that point, and it's just like it could like tear your whole leg off, and like
Jesus.
yeah. And
Jesus
sorry, that was a little
Christ.
graphic, but
No.
Jesus.
yeah,
It's no more graphic than the jokes Stu has made frequently
It's
throughout
true.
this
If you
episode.
were having unprotected sex on
Yeah.
skis,
No, I think the only type of school that belongs on a mountain is a culinary school because you're already getting familiar with making pizzas and hot dogs. Let's move on to another slide.
oh, Jesus
Oh, wow.
Christ.
Here we have
Okay.
the Mad River.
one more time.
ski
Can I get that
terms.
one more time? Oh,
There's
totally over my
ski
head.
terms, you see.
Yeah,
The shape
hot
of
dog,
the
hot
ski.
dog
pizza, yeah.
yeah.
Sure,
Sorry, I've
It's French
graduated
fry-
from
it is
that.
French fries.
Almost went to a private ski school.
Anthony,
Here we
tell
have-
us about this.
We have Mad River.
Yeah,
it looks
wait,
pretty
this
calm.
is
in
yeah,
this.
this is right where Sugarbush is, pretty much.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow.
So
It-
this is the kind of creek that you would see nudists around in the summer.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
Interesting.
watering holes and all that
Yeah,
jazz.
this is an interesting area because I chose a winter varietal of this particular photo, but there were also several photos that showed it during warmer months where there were people like cliff diving and jumping
Yeah.
into the water there. It looked really fun. It looks like a great place, but I wanted to get a couple more winter slides in just because we've seen so much of the foliage in the fall.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. No, it's so
Feel.
fun. Just getting like some beer and going to like a deli and getting some like sandwich, and then just like you're a day at the beach pretty much, but you're just at a creek. It's kind of weird, and you take breaks skipping rocks or building one of those cairn things. I think that's what they're called, cairns. Like you build
Oh,
a
like the little
stack
stacks of rock.
rocks.
Rock
Yeah, yeah,
balancing.
sure.
Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
big thing where I grew up, and it was sort of the art of nature. Is
Yeah.
that I'm trying to take all these rocks from this river and stack them on a rock or something just
Yeah.
outside of it to show that you can kind of create art from anything
Yeah,
and anywhere.
yeah. Or
Yeah.
that you're conquering nature
Mm.
once and for all.
Hmm. Okay.
All right, so we've got
Sorry,
an
I have
idea
opinions
of-
about cairns.
I have opinions about nature.
We've got an idea what Mad River's all about. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Here we do have a little taste of Smuggler's Notch here. This
Hell
is
yeah.
Ooh.
the barn at Smuggler's Notch, which is a blue barn and a vineyard down in the middle of a valley.
Beautiful.
But you see some of the Smuggler's Notch more prominent nature. The thick forests extending across some mountains back there. Once again, with all those rich colors, the reds, the greens, the yellows, the browns. I think that this is just such an absolutely gorgeous shot.
Yeah, I agree with you. This is sort of what I imagine the upper northeast of America to look like. We have a big snowy mountain. We have a bunch of trees changing colors for the fall. And then we have a beautiful green pasture with a blue farmhouse. I mean, this is idyllic American living.
Yeah, and for all those highway heads out there, this isn't just like a one-stop thing on your routes or your interstates. This is a constant thing that's going on for hours of driving through the beautiful state.
Every single exit on a highway has its purpose, and I think that Smuggler's Notch probably has one of the biggest purposes off that highway that cannot be named.
Huh?
Let's move on to the next slide here. We have Mount Mansfield. So we're getting actually into the mountain areas right here. Almost exclusively. I have no idea what that is in the bottom right corner.
What is that?
I don't know. I think it might be a guardrail accidentally captured within frame. And then we have just stretching gorgeous caps with, the gray stone.
Wait, gorgeous caps. Are we talking about the MCU?
Jesus Christ. America's ass. And then here we have a bunch of evergreen trees, gorgeous trees, just like on the flag. We don't have to spend too much time on this just because it is, a summertime mountain. Looks like a beautiful place to hike, and it has an elevation of 4,395 feet above sea level.
Wow.
Interesting. That's
not
not that high
Yeah.
in terms of mountain elevation, but looking at these mountains, I'm like, damn, that looks very Colorado to me. I'm getting a little bit right now.
You are.
Sorry,
Uh,
Camden.
No, we don't have to.
No.
this is like, you see this and you go, oh, beautiful, so regal, like all the hiking trails, but like every mountain kind of has like its own, not every mountain, but like frisbee golf is like set up, and there's just a bunch of
hell
people
yeah.
who are like fish people, pH fish people.
We'll get into that in
yeah,
a
yeah.
second. Don't worry.
Okay.
But
Are you
I want to
talking talking about some wooks out in the wild.
Jesus Christ.
That's what
I don't
they're
know much
called.
about
What's a
fish,
wook?
but
They're hippies, like
Oh,
silly
okay.
hippies.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Cool. That's all I need to know, I think. Let's move on.
Here we have
What
we
the
have
fuck is in the
Camel's-
bottom right-hand corner?
I don't know. I don't know what's there. Maybe a guardrail. This is Camel's Hump. It's part of the Green Mountain
That's
Range.
funny.
It has an elevation of 4,085 feet.
I mean,
Camel's Hump.
it's very obvious that is a picture of the Joe Camel, Marble spokesperson from the 70s, 80s, and
Marvel?
90s. Marlboro.
No, it's a
um,
camel spokes.
I think
Oh
it's
no,
fish
you're
camel,
right. What am I? Yeah, of course. I guess I just didn't grow up in an era when cigarette companies had mascots, so I don't really associate them much.
He's kind of like the Chester Cheetah of smoking.
I'm trying to be drawn in by the sun, but I can't help but
He
look
really
at
is.
that camel's jeans.
Yeah. Oh my God, they're so detailed, and it's like muscles too.
He's belted up. He looks like J.K. Simmons in Whiplash.
Yeah. Oh my
like
God.
a camel.
yeah.
No, but so you wouldn't really necessarily know from this photo that this is part of the Green Mountain Range. I chose this photo. It is silhouette, but I chose this photo so you could see some of the, the sunset atmospherics you can
Mhm.
capture out in that wilderness. I didn't want just another green shot.
No, that's
So-
beautiful. You can see that right from Sugarbush. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just like a gorgeous gradient in that sky too.
Yeah.
Look at the way the colors fading.
Yeah.
Oh, if
I
I,
ju- I can't get away from this camel's forearms.
Tim
Yeah.
has
He's a
not
hunk.
looked
He's
at
a
the
hunk.
sky yet.
I'm hot and sweaty.
They're
for this camel.
vascular, and he's gonna die of heart disease smoking those long Camel Blues. What's
Right.
next?
Here we have the Green Mountain National Forest, right
Oh, wow.
smack dab in the Green
Mm.
Mountains. It's chock full of wildlife. This is a
Yeah.
very natural national forest.
Mhm.
Here are some of the animals that you can find. No camels, but beavers, coyotes, black bears, moose, deer, wild turkeys, etc.
Yeah.
Some grouse. You could find anything in those forests. And once again, this is like a mirror-esque reflection along the lake or whatever body of water this
Yeah.
may be. But we also have the reds, the yellows, and the greens on that foliage, which I truly think is the most beautiful thing about the Northeast. Like the ways that the trees change color, there's a reason that it attracts so many tourists.
Yeah.
It's attracting me to this photo right now. I love this thing.
I'll say that I at my camp that I went to, it was like heavy canoeing. So we used to canoe down stuff like this all the time.
Oh,
I would put money on
God.
the fact that I've been canoeing probably on this lake.
God damn.
That
And
is
can you-
amazing.
Can you tell us a little bit about what that experience was like?
It's beautiful. Splitting the mirror of the skyline with your wooden canoe is just
That sounds like some
Fantastic.
of the
Yeah.
poetry and prose that will be discovered after Tim's death.
I am so Robert Frosty right now.
Frosty.
Let's liven you up. Let's liven you up with the Shelburne Museum.
Yeah.
Ooh, sick.
What's
This
in
is-
here?
This is one of 39 exhibition buildings, and altogether they feature over 150,000 works of art with emphasis on design and Americana.
Yeah,
This is an
it's-
art museum?
It's like this big open field. I think I'm talking about the same thing that this
Yeah.
this building is housed on. It's like this big, massive enclosure of just green grass, trees, surrounding the whole thing. And it's just like weird designed buildings like this. There's at one point in the whole park, there's just a Titanic like boat.
Yeah, the
Whoa.
Ticonderoga.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's just you can walk on it. It's just on land. It's like rested on some
Yeah.
things that you rest a boat on land on. And you can like walk up this big long ramp and onto the boat, and you're like, okay. It's just like weird stuff like that. There's
That's awesome.
buildings that you go into, and it's like a replica of a home in the 50s. Yeah.
Do you guys think the three most famous ties are the Titanic, the Ticonderoga, and YouTube billionaire Ty Sheridan?
I don't know who Ty Sheridan
What?
is, and I don't care to find out.
Maybe let's describe what's on this slide really quick. So we got a couple of
Yeah.
trees. We got some people, strolling in like what looks to be a park. And then on the left-hand side of the screen, we have this half house, half lighthouse kind of situation going on that's elevated off of the ground with some like concrete bricks. And it looks pretty crazy. I don't know what do you guys think that house like is functioning for?
Half house, half lighthouse. It's almost like my favorite band, Lifehouse.
What?
You could live in there.
Oh, a life house.
Oh
as
my
in you,
God.
You live in a house.
Yeah,
but it's
this
also
is
light.
look.
Okay.
All right, we're talking about an outdoor art exhibition, and I'm always a supporter of that. I am shocked knowing that Vermont is a snowy state. I can't imagine this gets much foot traffic while there's ice on the ground. But
Yeah.
if I'm slipping
closed.
between
Yeah.
like art piece and art piece while it's 85 degrees outside, I'm feeling fine, baby. I want to go here.
Yeah, you need to go here. Yeah, this is a great place. I
Maybe
forgot
I'll
about it.
maybe I'll head out there with some family friends of mine sometime soon.
Is
I'm
that-
worried. I'm worried that you're gonna get fucked by both of them.
Who do you know from Vermont, Stu?
They're a married couple in their late 60s, Jen and Barry Ice Cream.
Oh, yeah, right.
All right, let's move on. We've seen the Shelburne Museum. Here's Shelburne Farms.
Yeah.
This is a National Historic Landmark, and it's a nonprofit sustainability education center. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
That is awesome. And it's got 1,400 acres of working farmland, and then just like a gorgeous central building that you can commune around. And then look in the foreground, we have these beautiful flowers, some interesting trees back there that almost look like palm-esque. Just a gorgeous place to be. And honestly, a sustainability education center is something we could use more of in the United States. So
Agreed.
props to them.
Yeah, big ups to them. I like this big building. It sort of looks like a more Vermonty style of Charles Xavier's House for Gifted Kids. Or
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Like if there was an X-Men of Vermont, do you think Bernie is the Charles Xavier?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And who do you think is Jean Grey?
I don't know.
JoJo's. Have you ever been to this particular farm, Ian?
I don't think so, but it's kind of giving me. I mean, we were just talking about Midsummer before this
Yeah.
podcast. There's like kind of a cult vibe running through all of
Yeah.
Vermont stuff.
Nice.
I agree with you. All right, let's move on. What is
All right.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Here we have the final slide. It says "Hit the road, Vermont," and it just shows like a typical Vermont street. Nothing too fancy on this slide. Just a truck driving away down a nice gray road.
Yeah, this is most of Vermont. Is
Super typical
Yeah.
picture of Vermont.
I mean, this
With-
is the side of Vermont. Sans the whole. I just said sans, like without the whole tourist stuff. You
Yeah.
know, it's either you get the tourist stuff or you get this stuff, and
And speaking of not
Yeah.
touristy things, there's a couple of things on here that only locals would probably understand, right? Like, Ian, do you want to tell us what these three images across the top
So-
are?
Okay, we're looking at one image that's overlaid by several other. What would you call these stickers of image?
What do you mean?
PNGs.
So Stu's got all these stickers on his laptop of cow udders, and there's a cow skiing in the center with two skis. They're crossed. I don't know what that trick is called. There's a man in black and white. He looks like I should know who he is.
It's
Yeah.
former
He looks pretty
president.
cool.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
Calvin Coolidge with a
Coolidge.
set of others, so you could call him Calvin Moolidge.
Okay.
Oh,
my
Okay.
God.
I'm gonna put together the
God.
other piece of the puzzle on the left hand
Mhm.
of the screen. We've got a T-shirt with a band name on it. I'm gonna get close to the computer to see what that name is, and we've got udders underneath. I'm assuming there's a moo pun as well. Let's
Yeah.
take a
What's
look.
the band, Anthony?
I mean, I don't. What happens when you drop a big glass of milk on your shirt? You're gonna get stained.
Stained, Vermont.
Stained?
Vermont favorites. Stained.
Stained is from Vermont?
Shut up. We'll talk about it in a second.
the
But
first time
I
I've
want
ever
to
heard
ask
this
you,
band.
why are there udders on the bottom of the Stained tour T-shirt?
There are lots of cows in Vermont. It's a dairy haven.
I'm surprised we haven't gotten any maple syrup in this.
Nope, just milk. That cow is skiing. He's doing some tricks. He's got some moves.
Oh my! Oh my!
What did you guys
God.
think of that PowerPoint
And that
presentation?
ends the PowerPoint.
Ian, did that
Yeah.
satisfy you in
I think it
terms
really
of your
did. Yeah,
experience with
You
Vermont?
touched on some things that hadn't been unearthed until just now.
Well, let's ask, out of 6 feet of matted, disgusting, smelly patchouli dreadlocks, how many feet would you give Anthony's slideshow?
I give it a 6 out of 6. That was really good.
What?
I think I'm.
Oh, yeah.
What?
It really dug up like childhood memories of yeah.
We were talking about Midsummer just a second ago, and now I can say it again. This podcast is full of dread.
Oh man. Well, Anthony, I gotta give it to you. You surprised me on this one with the 6 out of 6 dreads.
Yeah.
And great job.
Thank
Yeah.
you. It was hard to put this one together because it really just could have been entirely ski resorts.
And it
Or
really
hiking
was
trails.
entirely the same picture of the same Northeast town, it seemed like.
We had 3 Burlington.
Well, I'll
Very
let the
Burlington.
six. I'll let the
Different
6 out of
angles.
6 speak for itself.
Yeah.
Was there anything missing that you would have included? Sugar Bush.
Sugar Bush. Oh, I mean, no. You know,
Maybe a picture of a hot tub with a couple of nudies in it.
and my dad maybe. Oh, what I would give for that image? Ugh, maybe then just to burn it immediately.
If you send me a
Just
PNG file of your dad, I could,
A
I
sticker.
could put some
Put
others
an
on
udder
him.
on him. Well, that went very successfully,
Yeah.
Tim.
All right, so that was Anthony's visual presentation. Anthony, you got a 6 out of 6, which is incredible. We're going to move on to the next regular fucking segment. We're going to go on to the taste segment, which, as the elder statesman, I am permanently and forever in charge of. We're going to have to kind of go through it because we're running out of time. But what I have prepared for you today is no food. For the first time in statesman history, I have not prepared any food for you.
What
Ian,
the
no worries.
fuck?
That's not an accurate statement. Nevada. We had
Oh,
lottery
right.
tickets.
yeah, you're right. Yeah, a taste of
For
of
the
gambling.
second time in statesman history.
For the second time
Yeah.
in statesman history, I have prepared for you all a little taste of single payer healthcare. Now,
Huh?
I've assembled a little bit of a game. The reason why I have chosen a taste of single payer healthcare is, of course, Bernard Sanders is the senator from Vermont, and he is notoriously he's a socialist candidate, really pushes single payer healthcare. So hopefully this game can somehow explain the benefits of single payer healthcare as opposed to the current American system that we currently use.
Okay, I'm pretty supportive of paying for my own health care and being able to go through the insurance companies that I love and support. But
Sure.
maybe you'll change my mind in this game.
In this game, we're gonna have just one assumption. Everybody has 3 dependents, so you all have a family. Just so we can level the playing field, we're all paying pretty much for the exact same amenities of people. Okay.
Okay.
So we're probably only gonna play 2 rounds. I designed it for 3, but we'll just see how the time is going. We'll play 2 rounds using different healthcare systems as handicaps to the rules. Everybody at the beginning will roll for their amount of wealth that they have at the very beginning. So if you roll a 1, you'll be cash poor. If you roll a 2, you'll be middle class. If you roll 3, you'll be wealthy. If you roll 4, you're going to be ultra wealthy. Okay. With every roll, you're going to receive a couple of different types of tokens. So if you roll a 1, you're going to receive 4 small plague tokens, okay? If you roll middle class, you'll receive 1 big plague token. I will explain these plague tokens in a second. Wealthy, you'll receive 1 big plague token and 5 small ones. And in ultra wealthy, you'll receive 2 big plague tokens and 5 small. So with every roll, one of two types of plagues will affect you, okay? So big plagues or small plagues. You must use your plague tokens to survive at all costs. If you fall below 0 plague tokens, you and all of your dependents are dead. Even numbered rolls on a 4-sided die, which I have in my hand, are going to be big plagues. Odd number rolls are going to be little plagues. Anthony, you will be rolling first. In the first round, we will be using the American healthcare system. So there will be no handicap. We're going to be basically playing this as it goes. So there are 2 additional rules that I want to add to you. So after you roll and have to spend your plague tokens, you have the opportunity to roll for medical luck. With every scenario comes medical luck. If you roll above a 1, medicine will be on your side. And if you roll above a 1, medicine will be on your side. If you roll a 1, medicine will not, despite you already giving up your plague tokens, okay? If you are ultra wealthy, with an extra small plague token, any outward physical damage incurred by you or your dependents can be repaired with plastic surgery or some other form of surgery by rolling a 2 or higher. Okay? I think this game is very simple. And so, Anthony, I'm going to give this die to you so you can roll for wealth. Okay?
All right.
So let's see what Anthony gets. Anthony has rolled a 1, so he is cash poor. He only has 4 small plague tokens in the American healthcare system. Ian, why don't you roll? That's a 4. Ian, you are ultra wealthy. You have received 2 big plague tokens and 5 small. Stuart?
This feels great.
Stuart also cash poor. That's really too bad for you guys in this first round.
Oh my god.
So Anthony, why don't you grab that? Anthony, why don't you grab that die back and let's see what kind of plague you're going to get. So remember, even number rolls are big plagues and odd number rolls are little plagues.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Come on, odd.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's an odd roll. There's going to be a little plague on you. So, what number is that? 3?
Yep.
One of you and your dependents had a little fun with a light bulb, and it got stuck.
Uh-oh.
You owe 1 small plague token. So, Anthony, you only have 3 plague tokens left.
Oh,
Great.
boy.
Ian, go ahead.
Let me, Ian, while you're
Yeah,
rolling that
yeah.
dice, I was worried that the game segment with Jen and Barry Sice Cream might have been a little too complicated and ridiculous for the podcast, but
Ooh,
One odd.
That is an odd. So, hey, it's still a small plague. You're going to be just fine. You're ultra wealthy, so you've got plenty of tokens to spend. You and your dependents have suffered 1 leg injury. You may decide which one of your dependents suffers that, but you owe 1 small plague token. Okay? Great.
Do I have to say out loud?
yes, which one of your daughters suffers a leg
Okay,
injury?
I have 3 daughters.
Yes.
No, it's Mary.
Okay, great. Mary has a broken leg. Stuart.
A 1.
Okay, 1. Well, you and your dependents have also suffered 1 leg injury. Okay, so you owe 1 small plague token.
All right, one of my wives.
So at the end of the first round, Anthony has 3 plague tokens. Stuart, you have 3 plague tokens, and Ian, you have 2 big plague tokens and 4 small. Cool.
Okay.
The light bulb was me. I'm taking the blow for my family unlike these two who are
Who put
passing it off to their family members.
I can't believe you're sitting down comfortably right now.
It's up there.
he didn't say which hole it went in, huh?
Mm.
I love this game.
Yeah, thanks.
Anthony, roll again.
Okay.
You have rolled an even number. Now, I forgot to mention that you can spend 2 small plague tokens for 1 big token. So, since you don't have any big tokens, in order to pass this next test, you will have to spend 2 small plague tokens. Okay, so since you have rolled a 2, your big plague is, you and your dependents are attacked by a mutated and rabid flesh-eating fungus that crawls like a quick moss on 4 moldy stilts. It has already gnawed through you and your 2 youngest dependents' nasal cavities, but if you can pay, you still have time to save their eyes.
Jeez. Well, can I pay?
You certainly can, but for this one, you're gonna have to roll for medical.
Oh, Jesus. So I have to roll again?
Yeah, you already paid your 2 small plague tokens, so you have 1 small plague token left, and if you roll a 1, someone might die anyway.
I might need to go back to the island because I'm lost. right.
You're
here's
safe.
4.
You're safe.
Thank God.
Wow.
You and,
Whoa.
you and your dependents are safe, but they have their nasal cavities. Their nasal cavities have been fully chewed through.
At least we still have each other.
Wow.
Ian,
And
go ahead.
Okay, I'll roll, and I just want to remind everyone, if this game is occurring in the early 80s and we're in Burlington, you
Mhm.
may be treated by my mom.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah.
I was a hospital
nice.
pharmacist in Burlington.
Nice. Okay, you
It's
have
an
rolled
even
a 3.
or odd 3. Yeah.
Yeah, another small plague token for you. And what is this one? One of you and your dependents got their fingers caught in the sharp blades of an amateur ice skater. So,
What?
so they lose a finger or whatever, but that's okay. You just owe 1 small plague token, and as an ultra wealthy person, you're just gonna be totally fine.
Okay, double down. It happened to Mary.
Oh,
There- wow. Okay, Stuart, go ahead. That's a 3. It's a small plague token. So one of you and your dependents got their hand caught in the car door. Ouch. You owe 1
God.
small plague token.
Another one of my wives, I
All right.
suppose.
So at the end of this next round, Anthony, you have 1 plague token. Ian, you have plenty of plague tokens, and Stuart, you only have 2 plague tokens left.
What am I tasting?
tasting?
Yeah, this is the taste segment, right?
Yeah, well, you're tasting single-payer healthcare. So right now we're tasting American healthcare.
This is how the system works now.
Currently, yes, this is how the system works.
Okay.
Anthony, you have rolled another. You've rolled a big plague.
Oh no.
I'm sorry, Anthony. You and your dependents consume a short-living, antibiotic-resistant, and rapidly evolving bacterium that liquefies your intestines and drains them from a necrotic hole formed in the belly button over the course of 16 hours before killing itself. With 1 small plague token you and your dependents will be appropriately corked with a likely chance of organ survival. However, you have no big plague tokens. Anthony, you're dead.
Not so fast. We didn't say which hole that light bulb went in. I've stopped up my belly button.
Unfortunately, you are dead. You have no plague tokens. Ian,
Shit.
you pick
I'm
up that.
shocked.
That's what the American healthcare system does. It leaves behind those who cannot save themselves.
I'm wicked pissed right now about our healthcare
I-
system.
and you should. Ian, why don't you roll?
Okay. Jesus, what an image. Anthony going that way.
And you
4.
Okay, you rolled a big plague. You and your dependents have been stricken by a motorized vehicle within 2 weeks of each other. Each of you suffer crippling bone injuries from your legs to your spine and arms to skull. This will cost you 1 big plague token or 2 small plague tokens.
This music.
As an ultra wealthy person, you're totally fine. You have the opportunity to roll for ultra wealthy, so none of those bone injuries will have any permanent outward damage.
Perfect.
Oh, well, actually, you failed the roll for medical. You rolled a 1, so you're permanently injured and permanently deformed. But you're alive. Stuart, why don't you take that die?
What are we supposed to be walking away from on this game?
You just have to get through this round, and then it will all start to make sense.
Okay, great.
So you rolled an even number.
I rolled a 2.
That's going to be a big plague. And
Okay.
also for you, you're going to die. You have no more plague tokens.
Mhm.
But you and your dependents have been shot multiple times in a violent act of white extremism. The ambulances arrived on time
What?
to resuscitate and intubate you. You and your dependents survive, and a few months later, after gathering around the dinner table for supper, a letter is opened that dictates that you and your family owes 1 big plague token to the insurance company. But I'm sorry, Stu.
I don't have any. What are we going to do?
That means you're dead. So
Wait, we're dying? Wouldn't we just go into debt and escape the state, run away, and live somewhere in the mountains?
no, you kill all of your dependents in a murder-suicide because you just can't accept the gravity of the situation. Now, you
Wow.
understand what the American healthcare system does. Anthony, Stewart, you are dead, while Ian, ultra-wealthy man, stays alive. What's
Ian.
going on with that?
This is so fucked up.
Now,
And maybe I've just been living in an Instagram reality, but I thought the healthcare system took better care of people than this.
it really doesn't, Stewart. But maybe in this next round, we'll find out what exactly single-payer healthcare can do. Now, Anthony, you will have the die again, but the rules kind of has changed. You will both stay cash poor, Anthony and Stewart. Ian, you're going to stay ultra-wealthy, just for the sake of this. In single-payer healthcare, you will receive a +2 handicap. The cash poor and middle class will receive a +2 handicap, while the wealthy will receive a -1 handicap, and ultra wealthy will receive a -1 handicap. So you lose 1 small plague token. You have 4 plague tokens. You have 6 plague tokens, and you have 6 plague tokens. So We're gonna play quick speed rounds. So why don't you roll the die 3 times and tell me what happens?
I'm back. Hell is real. Hell is real. Hell is real.
Anthony was dead for the past minute and a half, but his corpse is reanimated. What are you about to roll, my boy?
All the things that I enjoy in life were used against me in ways that I couldn't imagine.
Okay. Hey, you rolled a 3. That's a small plague. That's not really a big deal. What happens
Small
to you?
plague.
One of you and your dependents remember that at one point in your lives, you were distracted enough to forget that in 1998, The Undertaker threw mankind off Hell in a Cell and plummeted 16-3 through the announcement table. But you owe 1 small plague token anyway. Ian,
What the
why don't you go?
was that?
I'm just gonna drop it.
Yeah, go ahead. Hey,
a
that's
4.
That's a 4. That is a big plague. You and your dependents have been in a massive cross-country bullet train accident. I'm really sorry. Putting your youngest dependent into a coma and severely injuring the others.
Mary.
You must pay 1 big plague token. But you're fine. You're ultra wealthy. Go ahead, Stuart. That's a big plague.
Okay.
Okay, so you lose 2. I'm not even gonna do it. Anthony, why don't you roll?
All right. 3.
Okay, you lose 1 small plague token. You're gonna be fine. Ian, go ahead. Another one. If you're keeping the math on this,
I am.
3 on Ian. You only lose 1 small plague token. You're still fine. Go ahead, Stuart.
Okay.
1. You only lose 1 small plague token. You still got 3 more. Anthony, you got 3 more too. And 2, you lose 2 small plague tokens. But guess what? At the end of the round, you're still alive. All
Yeah.
because of this handicap in single-payer healthcare. All because Ian loses only 1 handicap while you guys gain +2 handicap. I mean, that's crazy. Ian, why don't you go ahead and roll?
When did this become a DSA podcast?
1. Okay, you're fine. Stu, why don't you roll?
A DSA? What's a DSA?
The Democratic
I see.
Socialist something or not?
You lose 2 plague tokens because you have rolled a 4, and that's it. That's the game. Everybody survives. Everybody survives in single-payer healthcare, while in the American healthcare system, we lost 66% of our population.
Wow. Okay.
And that was the taste of single-payer healthcare.
I liked it, man. It was a really awesome structure you came up with, and I really enjoyed that. I thought you made
Thanks.
a really important point. Very interesting stuff to consider. Very, very tight framework that was a little tough to follow while inside of it, but hey, man, you gotta start educating yourself somewhere. So I think that this is a good conversation starter, huh?
Thanks, Anthony.
I-
Ian, what did you think?
Well, yeah, for all the people listening to this podcast alone, I think it's a great conversation.
But for those families at home listening to States
crowded around the radio or people in a car on their way up to Vermont,
Mhm.
I think this is great. Yeah, it's definitely a conversation starter. Anthony points out a great point.
People reaching out to tell us to fuck off.
Yep. Stu, what did you think? Just really quick.
Really quick, A+, a perfect grade. I love single payer healthcare. I agree with what you were trying to do with this segment. I'm just not 100% sure about the taste aspect of it.
Well, you got a taste of it. I mean, that was just a
Yeah,
little
that's good.
lick of single-payer
You know what?
healthcare.
Actually, it's true that when we finished the American healthcare round, it did leave a bad taste in my mouth.
And in the single-payer one,
it left a creamy taste in my mouth.
because you were alive. Now, Ian, I need to know out of 6 feet of this these collective dreadlocks, how many have I received?
I'm gonna say you proved a great point,
Thanks.
but
Started a good conversation.
started a great conversation. But this podcast, and I am enjoying myself, but it has labored into a longer extension of than I think it should have. And we hit that game, and I kind of felt a little tired.
Do
But
not tell me I received 0.
You receive a shaved head, I'm thinking.
I'm gonna say 2 out of 6.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Only 1 foot of dreadlock on each of the heads of Jen and Barry's ice cream.
You know what? I'm going to take the knock on my chin. In 2020, I'm going to prove all of you fucking wrong.
Hey, just for your consideration, maple syrup would have been easy.
I burned maple syrup last week in the New Hampshire episode. I couldn't just do a repeat.
Yeah,
You
I
understand.
guess.
Yeah.
I
You want-
guess you're right.
Look, we're gonna move on to the next regular segment. because of me, we are running very, very low on time.
It's not just you. I mean, everybody's
I do
fucking
have
with
all the
format.
time. Truly, we could stay late. Yeah.
It's just that we're almost at 2 hours in this
Yeah.
episode.
And I was
yeah.
supposed to drive Jen and Barry to the airport after this. So
You have to spend any more time with him. That's insane. But Stuart, you have prepared an audio segment for us. So for Vermont, I'm going to ask you to just take it away.
Well, I think when it comes to taking it away, I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking in the mic and wasting more of the recording time that we don't have. So, Camden, hit it.
They dance above me as I sing. I see them through a crystal haze and hear them bouncing round the room.
Okay. It had to be. I know my sister's happy at home right now.
Your sister a big fish head?
Yeah, she loves fish.
Well, that's, of course, who we were just listening to with their hit Bouncing Around the Room. Well, I shouldn't say a hit, because I don't think Fish has any hits that are universally known. They're just a big, hippie jam band from Vermont. Of course, their lead guitarist and singer, Trey Anastasio, from the state. Ian, you love Fish.
I like Fish. Fish is good.
What if I told you, I mean, would it change your opinion? Would you be able to say you love them if I told you they've never played the same set twice?
Look, I think that Fish is really interesting because I think their concerts are, real
Yeah.
experiences.
Yeah.
And they're like 4 hours long. They just like go completely wild. Not all the play is technically perfect. It's like sloppy but it keeps you in that moment, and it's more about just the essence of being in the crowd. I've never
Yeah.
personally been, but damn, does it sound like something I would love to experience once. And I want to get in the crowd with all those Wooks and Spunions and all those crowd members and really just, kind of get my freak on. You know what I'm talking about?
I mean, we were talking a little bit about Cherry Garcia earlier, but after Jerry Garcia died, a lot of those deadheads sort of migrated over to the next big jam band out there, and it is Fish. They've been touring consistently and selling and promoting live records for the past 30 years. And I think it's easy for us to all say that we've at least at some point considered going to a Fish concert. Tim?
I've never listened to Fish. I honestly have only heard bad things about Fish. Everybody who I've talked to,
No.
I've heard like tangentially talk to Fish about, have disparaged the band.
Wait, actually? Is this
Yeah.
true?
Yeah,
In
no
what
joke.
way?
Maybe.
Like it really is like more of the people who listen to Fish that they've disparaged rather than the band. I don't know if that like
Oh,
Yeah.
I see.
I mean, that's the problem with a lot of these jam bands and their fan bases is that the fan bases can sometimes become worse and like affect the art. It's that
Yeah,
Rick and
yeah,
Morty dilemma where you're like, I guess I like that show, but these people fucking suck.
Sure.
What are you talking about?
Sorry, Ian's very intelligent. Yeah. So like Fish, of course, they got the name. Where do you guys assume they got the name of the band from?
I actually know.
Oh, well, tell us, Anthony.
It's the noise that it makes when you open a balloon up and it goes psh. That's actually where it's from. If you're going to say something else, it's
No.
incorrect.
Well, maybe it's incorrect. I've heard it's the noise when an airplane takes off. That's from an interview with Trey Anastasio himself.
Ah, well,
Fish? Wait, no. Isn't it the drummer is like
Mark-
Johnny?
Mark Fishman.
Mark
Yeah.
Fishman.
Doesn't that have something to do with it?
Tim, what's your theory?
I thought that they had their World of Warcraft password fished from their computer.
Fished from their computer.
Yeah, well, like it's like when your credit card account gets fished off the internet, but it's this World of Warcraft password. Have you ever had your World of Warcraft password fished? I have,
Look.
and it was one of the worst days of my entire life.
God. Maybe we're all correct. Who can say? They're just like the symbols on that famous Led Zeppelin album. The mystery stays with the band, and we're all free to sort of conjecture and have fun guessing. But I personally am not a huge fan of that sort of the hippie jam band aesthetic. I don't love jam bands necessarily. I think the reason that Fish has stayed around for so long and is still kind of prevalent in some ways is that going to their live shows and going and experiencing that sort of thing and connecting with everybody else in Madison Square Garden for, like 4 nights in a row is interesting, and it's like religious, and it's fun, and it's probably filled with drugs, and I think a lot of people have fun with that, and I'm not going to disparage them myself, even though I'm not the biggest fan. But this next band, I'm actually a huge fucking fan, and it's been a while since we've heard music this good on the podcast.
fuck. Yes.
Wow, that was Stained. It's been a while. Anthony, you're crying.
I used to hear this song all the time on 104.3, the hard rock hits
Yeah.
in Saratoga.
Yeah.
And I used to have a complicated relationship where I couldn't decide whether or not I like it. And guess where I've landed? I don't like that song.
That's
It is
very
not
fair.
good. That T-shirt we saw earlier in the slideshow is fucking disgraceful. And you know, everybody should like what they like, but that is just not even.
But not
music.
this.
I mean, look, that is not. I don't know. That does nothing for me.
No, I agree. Just like the table we record on every week, that band was Stained. And they've sold 15 million records in their career. They're sort of a post-grunge hard rock new metal band. And they've covered multiple they've covered multiple sort of genres in there, but I think if you hear them, it just sounds like sad early 2000s, like lame-ass metal. And their other hits include songs like Price to Play, So Far Away, Right Here, and of course Kanye West's famous single, Fade. So Ian, do you love Stained? Do you have any opinions about Stained? How do you feel?
I only know this one song, and I didn't even know the name of the band because you showed me that T-shirt before, and I was like, "What is Stained? Never heard." I feel like they're pretty good. I mean, it's like the quality. I mean, sure, you might not like the genre, but like the quality, like these guys they really put their hearts into this music. You
Yeah,
can
I
hear
mean,
it.
it's not poorly produced by any I don't know, stretch of the imagination. And lead singer and rhythm guitarist Aaron Lewis is, of course, from Vermont himself.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you can argue that Stained, much like Fish and Stained, the yin and yang of the state, maybe that's it. You know, Fish is
Maybe.
that hippie green mountain culture, and Stained is the real heart of the Vermont native.
Maybe. Yeah, this is definitely something you'd hear in, some like real native Vermont town, some real person from Rutland or something would truly like this.
Tim?
In my life, I
Yeah.
have been to three Doors Down concerts.
What the fuck?
What did they do again?
Three Doors
Doors
Down
Down.
does Kryptonite, most
If I
famously.
go
Oh, right,
crazy.
yeah.
And twice Stained has opened for Three Doors Down.
Really?
Wow.
I have seen Stained twice in my middle school life, and I just want to give a shout out to my middle school friend and high
Yeah.
school, even elementary school friend, Dennis. Dennis, if you're out there listening, and I doubt you are, you're a good guy, and I miss you.
And
I like
Dennis, if you keep annoying your next door neighbor,
I swear, young man, I'll smack that butt burning red like the trees of Vermont. But Camden, let's move on and listen to the next song here. We've listened to some big names, bands that we all love and listen to on a daily basis, like Stained and Fish. But this next one, I think you guys will enjoy because he's a smaller name, someone you might not know, and who I think represents a little bit more of the culture of the current Vermont and the way we think about it. Camden, hit it.
that joke was about Dennis the Menace.
Say, are you warm tonight? I am whispering, dreaming, cradled by the shining.
We were talking about skinny dipping down at the creek, but those rocks next to it, you know what they're covered in? Moss. That was Sam Moss.
Wow.
Vermont
Samus?
native and guitarist and composer. He's got a great Bandcamp. That's from his 2018 album, the song, of course, called Neighbors. He's sort of a folky guitarist who has toured for the last 5 years and who has been described in many of his reviews as classically timeless. Ian, you're a musician yourself, I would consider you. You're the music man.
Shapoopy.
If I had to ask you what you think Sam Moss looks like, what would you describe him as?
I just some Vermont. He's probably got some farmer's tan to him. Some
Mm.
Vermont native. It looks similar to Tim, I think. Backwards hat, kind of. But folky. But Vermont isn't like folky in some weird, like I don't know. It's not like avant-garde folky. It's just like
Sure.
I grew up on a farm.
Yeah.
Always playing acoustic guitar in a field. It's not try hard hipster.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It is
straw
just-
hat and blue jeans.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think he's a particularly former dresser. For all my Nintendo fans out here, I think he's a zero suit Sam Moss.
Oh my
Oh.
God.
Anthony,
Wow.
That honestly, that's really good.
Did you just take a mouthful of those Vintner's crunchy nuggets? Because you're spitting heat.
That was awesome. That was legitimately awesome.
Well, while we're on the energy, guys, I mostly wanted to put Sam Moss on the mix because he and I share the same exact mustache. While he is a blonde young man, you can see that we both have a mustache that doesn't quite connect in the middle and which has sort of crispy little ends on the outsides. And I think you're kind of close. While he's a little bit nerdier than...
I was going to first say, I think he looks very much like me. I don't
Yeah.
know why that was my
does look
instinct.
a lot like
I don't
you, Ian.
know. Yeah, that was my instinct, though, to say he looks a lot like me.
Your
Yeah,
hair
and-
is like dirtier blonde than
Mhm.
his is, and you're kind of lacking the stash. But I mean, you have like the skinny good looks.
Yeah, and I'm glad we got to play something from your twin with my mustache. If you and I got together in a hot tub, maybe we'd create little Sam Moss.
I like to imagine so.
Well, Camden, we're going to be moving forward to the next song in the list, and I don't like excuses when it comes to these segments. We do what we do, and we work hard. Vermont does not have that many musical artists from it. Let's just play the next thing.
I'm sad alone in a boggy marsh, totally motionless except for her heart. Mud flowed up into Lump's pajamas. She totally confused all the passing piranhas. She's lump,
She's in my head. Of course, guys, that is the band Presidents of the United States of America with their hit Lump. Now, Tim, do you think this band is from Vermont?
I'm gonna guess no, but you're about to make a huge stretch.
Yeah, I am going to make a huge stretch because I've been doing yoga recently and my body looks great. They're not from Vermont, but two incredible presidents are. That's right. We already talked about Calvin Coolidge, but also Chester A. Arthur. Wow. Two enormous pieces of history, American history, and they're both from Vermont. So let's talk about them, guys. Calvin Coolidge, of course, the 30th president, brought about the Roaring 20s with his economic policy and gave full citizenship to all Native Americans in America, which is crazy considering it happened in the 1900s. Chester A. Arthur took over from James Garfield after he died of blood poisoning resulting from an assassination attempt. He vetoed a steamboat safety bill and opened the Brooklyn Bridge. Now, I want to go around the table, starting with you, Ian, then moving to Anthony and Tim. Which of these presidents do you think is sexier?
So Coolidge opened up the Brooklyn Bridge, you said?
Sorry, that was Chester A. Arthur.
Arthur. And Coolidge succeeded Arthur.
No, they're about 50 years apart
I
in
thought
history.
Okay. Well, who died of the blood poisoning?
That was the
Garfield.
president before. Yeah, I believe it was James Garfield died of a blood poisoning, and then his vice president Chester A. Arthur took
if
over.
only he had rolled a different number.
Yeah.
he might
Yeah,
have survived.
sorry, he didn't have single payer health care, so
wow.
he had only a couple plague tokens.
Yeah,
Guys,
what was
we
this
gotta
diagnosis?
move forward. Quick, Ian? You have to marry one of them. Which one is it?
Okay, I was a huge fan of the puns, though. Moolage.
Calvin Coolidge it is. Anthony, you got to
mean-
put a ring on one of them.
Yeah, it's right in his name. He's the Calvin Coolest. I'm gonna go with him.
All right, and Tim?
The problem is the question was who was hottest, and I'm sorry, Coolidge is not hot. It's
Yes.
Arthur.
Exactly.
Well, guys, regardless of that, we just talking about the presidents of the United States. Somebody call up Weird Al. It's time for he's Trump. He's Trump. He's in my head.
You know, you come with hot fire at one time. Zero Suit Sam Moss, very funny.
This was Calvin Cool as Ice. Let's go ahead and move on to the last thing I brought in for the audio segment. Again, been doing yoga, learning to stretch. Let's hear it.
Why do you always do better on menswear at Burlington Coat Factory?
Okay.
I can get two suits
Yeah,
for the price of what
fine.
I'd normally pay for one suit elsewhere.
I love it here. It's a great savings.
Well, we really have to listen to this entire commercial.
Tim, shut the fuck
You can
up.
afford to look like a millionaire without breaking your bank account.
You don't have to spend a lot of money to look good here. Any designer that you need is here.
I can get any kind of style I want. I get my money's worth at Burlington Coat Factory.
And I'm Jen Ice Cream, and I love Burlington Coat Factory.
What a jingle.
Yeah, so Burlington, Vermont is a city in the state.
Yeah, we've looked at pictures of it.
What's your coolest coat you've ever had, Ian?
Coolest coat. I've got a cool coat that is a Weather Report is the brand of the coat. And I think that's cool because there's a band named Weather Report.
Oh, yeah.
Weather Report is a great band.
Well, Anthony, let me ask you, if you had to design a coat of arms for Vermont, what would be the 3 things you'd include in it?
Probably some arms.
A coat of arms?
Yeah, a coat of arms, like sort of the
Yeah.
like a
Every
shield.
coat
What do you-
has some arms.
Oh my God,
I
Anthony!
think the coat that I'm most familiar with right in this moment is the coat of flop sweat that I have regarding this entire podcast.
And of course, Tim, you have to eat one candy-coated snack. What's it gonna be?
Candy coated snack.
Skittles, M&Ms, candy apple, Tic Tacs.
Yeah, it would be the Tic Tac. It would be 6 Tic Tac.
Well, that's the end of the audio segment. So, Ian, of course, I think in terms of the energy of the podcast and where we're going, this is skyrocketed. This is the peak of Camel's whatever it was, or Smuggler's Notch. We're at the highest elevation in Vermont we're going to be at. Camel's Hump. I mean, Ian, out of 6 feet of Vermont native dreadlocks, how many locks do I get? I'm dreading the answer.
I think you just summited one of the green peaks of Vermont to score yourself a 6 out of 6.
Whoa! Wow!
What the hell?
Great job.
That's right. It just shows to it goes to show if you have energy, you can just about do whatever you want, baby.
You guys just don't have the energy for single payer healthcare. I get it. It's cool. It's freaking cool. I get it. 2020.
That game was a big play.
Yeah, I mean, look, you went for it, but we got into tokens and dice rolls. I
rolled an even. I rolled a big even. Well, Stuart, you received a 6 out of 6 dread, and that's pretty incredible. But we've explored Vermont with our lookers. We've explored Vermont with our listeners. We've explored Vermont with our tasters, and we've explored Vermont with our sniffers. It's time to explore Vermont with our hearts. We're going to go around in a circle, starting with Anthony, to Ian, to Stuart, then to myself, to summarize what Vermont does for us. Anthony?
We're super late on time, so I'm just going to keep this as quick as I can. I think Vermont is absolutely beautiful. And, we got lost in the sauce on this episode a little bit, and we made it very ridiculous. It is a very elegant state. There are some holes in what makes it easy to talk about, to create content, just because it's so similar across across the state. There's a lot of skiing, which I don't get into, but in terms of hiking and exploring, I think it is a gorgeous place, and you could really do worse than that to capture that sense of the Northeast. I think the Northeast of the United States is absolutely gorgeous. I would recommend going there at least once to check it out. It could stand to be way more diverse, and I think that there is a big problem with opioid addiction right now in that area. And I think that needs to be addressed. So I think that it does have some room for growth, but I think it is a truly undervalued, gorgeous place that you should explore.
Ian?
I want to say that although this did drag on, much like a fish show that will drag on 4 hours long, much like a fish show, we stayed connected to one another as a crowd would at one of those shows.
And much like a fish show, it was mostly improvised poorly.
Livia, I'm sorry we couldn't get you on to talk fish, and please don't call me to correct me if I got that guy's name wrong. The drummer, I think it's Mike Fishman, and I said Mark. I'm going to be hearing about that one.
Well, we stayed in the moment, which is exactly how the band performs when they're on stage, and I think the greatest quality of Vermont, whether you're meeting the people who are just up there for a weekend of skiing or hiking or something in the summer, or you're meeting the people of Rutland or someone who's just Vermont grown all the way through. Everyone there is connected to one another and living in the moment, and I think that's what we did here.
Stuart?
Well, I think this goes to show that this is one of the wildest, wackiest episodes we've had in a while. Like a bad train, we were off the rails for a little bit. But I will say that it just shows that we had so much to talk about that we didn't even get back to the fact that Tim talked about in the beginning, that Vermont is apparently like pro-eugenics in the 50s and 60s. I almost wish that we had people who were like 60, 70 years old who I could bring in and ask about that. Wait a minute.
Oh, no. No.
I would bet.
I'm going to cock a gun and shoot both of you in the face.
I'll suck whatever gun you put in front of me.
I'm just here for the deans.
Stuart, do you have anything else to say?
No, I just brought him back in. I thought that would be fun.
Okay, great. What does Vermont do for me? In terms of its nature and its natural beauty, Vermont is a 10 out of 10 in my opinion. It's got beautiful trees. It's got beautiful mountains. It's got water, land, sea, and sky. I mean, it's got everything that you need. It's got highways. And that's really all I have to say. Vermont is like just any other Northeast state to me. It's not that I don't want to visit there. It's just I don't know what I think about Vermont, even after we've explored it with all of our senses. I don't know. Would I like to ski there? Yes. Would I like to have sex unprotected there? Yes.
Nice.
And I don't know. I think that's all I've got to say. If you have any questions or concerns about the great 50 states of the Statesman, reach out to us on Facebook and Instagram at Statesman Podcast, on Twitter at Statesman Pod, or by email at statesmanpodcast@gmail.com. Please like, rate, subscribe, share the show with your friends because it helps the show out a lot. Ian, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. This is really fun. As much as I ragged on the game, I really enjoy every little piece of work that you put into this. This is a really good podcast.
Thank you so much. Do you have anything to plug for us in like the next couple weeks before we release this episode?
I have a show coming up Sunday. Can I plug that?
Yeah. It's a recurring show though, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. Come see AV Club anytime, anywhere. We're just making single events, but I think we should start making a page for it so that people can, concentrate.
I
their
think you
attention
guys
to
need to make a
one
page
place.
ASAP because you're one of the more exciting shows to go see around the city. There's a lot of technical aspects coming into it. We had some technical difficulties before the podcast, but thankfully you were here to help solve them. So I would recommend everybody goes out and sees the AV Club ASAP and listen to, look Ian up online, right? Because you do a lot of music production and help and work, and you're a business boy, right?
Yes. I'm doing as much as I can to turn my life into an audio boy's life. My voice keeps cracking.
You're nervous in front of Jen and Barry.
You're even playing with the pitch of your voice. You're such an audio freak.
Yes.
Ian, where can people find you online to follow your business, your audio business, or whatever audio stuff you've got going on?
You can contact me and find some of my work at ianiversen.com. That's right. I got the full website of Ian Iversen. Yeah.
AlanIversen.com?
Actually spelled differently. It's my first name is Ian, spelled I-A-N, and my last name is I-V-E-R-S-E-N, not O-N, like the famous basketball player.
That makes sense.
All right. Well, Ian, thanks again. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. This was a great time. Everybody, thank you for listening. On behalf of my junior statesman, Anthony Rossi, and Stuart Highcar, I'm your older statesman, Tim Ferrari. Stay positive.
We missed our flight, by the way. Can we stay here?
Call you.